Oh, hey bitch. Oh, excuse you. Baloney wash. I'm annoyed. I'm just here to give my opinion and carry in. Oh, it's Kris Avalon Unfiltered, bitch. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Happy Monday. It's your boy Kris Avalon, and welcome to a brand new episode of Kris Avalon Unfiltered. Also, Happy Black History Month. Basically, a show where we talk about all things going on in pop culture and hot topics. So that's a show for you. Definitely stick around. Excuse me, because we have a lot of tea to spill today, including we got to talk box office. We also got to talk about the Melania reviews and the numbers on how the mainstream media, y'all think people are real slow out here with the BS y'all trying to spew, talking about it exceeded expectations. Fuck out of here. We're going to really get into the tea on this show. So we're going to talk about that. Plus, we got to talk about the Grammys. A lot went down last night. What's about the winners, the upsets, the shocks, everybody all of a sudden jumping on the ice bandwagon. So we'll talk about that. Plus, we got to talk about Nicki Minaj. Of course, she had time because what else is she doing? She had time to respond to Trevor Noah and also use homophobic slurs yet again, not only for Trevor Noah, but for what's his name? Don Lemon, because she went on Katie Miller's podcast. So we'll talk about that. And also, speaking of homosexuals and things, Billie Porter threw some shade at Nicki Minaj, and of course, she has something to say about that as well. So we're going to get to what she said in regards to that. Plus, weak ass, thin skinned, loose booty Trump is out here talking about he going to sue Trevor Noah for what he said regarding that Epstein joke that he told last night at the Grammys. Also, speaking of Don Lemon, he was locked up over the weekend. He got arrested on Friday. We wasn't here because I was working, so I wasn't able to talk about it, but we'll talk about it today. We'll talk about what he said. And also, Jane Fonda came out, was speaking out against what's going on in the administration, came to Don's defense, because I had a friend who was like, why is nobody speaking out this against Don Lemon and all this other stuff? I'm like, it just happened. Give it time. So Jane Fonda was one of the real ones out here, because, she's been an activist for a long time. And the New York Post, y'all tried it with that little shade y'all try to throw at a legend, something y'all will never be. So we got that. Plus, good news regarding Cardi B and a case that she was a part of. The lawyer sided with her. I'll give you more information regarding that. Plus, we got to talk about OF, because apparently, all these little places that is a little uptight, them little red states. Well, shout out to Texas for flipping and turning blue over a recent election. But another thing is, y'all still a little uptight over there because apparently OF pulled in approximately, nearly, I should say, $250 million. And they got a tight corn law over there. So y'all over there watching and stroking and fingering and diddle-daddling, doing all the little things and stuff with your fingers in your hands, even though y'all can't be watching some of the adult cinematography over there. So we'll get into that. Plus, apparently, there was a story I saw over there on Rob Shutter. We got to talk about it because they're trying to say that from what he hearing, Karamo was the real bully over there at Queer Eye. So we're going to get into that. Plus, we got to talk about this. The recent episode of Drag Race, we're halfway through, and they did their, their Rate of Queen and that situation. So we'll talk about that and my overall thoughts on the performances. And speaking of adult performers, Joey Mills found himself a new gig over there at Out TV with, I don't know, I forgot her name. What is it? Jasmine Royale Gaga? No, Fantasia Royale Gaga. So we got that and a whole lot more. So before we get to the topics, if you could please do me a solid and hit that like button. If you are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Also be sure to smash the notification bell so that way you know when we go live with a brand new episode of Kris Avalon Unfiltered. Please and thank you. Let me put the comments up in here. Onyx says happy Monday. Cleveland, not bootyful. And look, I was almost on time today. I showed up. Yeah, I was 5 minutes late because I was over here working, putting the show together, and I was eating chips. Sorry. I was hungry. Looks like you definitely had your Wheaties. Oh yeah. This is new coffee I was drinking. Oh my God, I wish I would have had it in here with y'all so I could show y'all and it's giving me energy and things of that nature. So that, and I've been hitting the gym hard. And because I'm getting older and in life it starts to go down a little bit, I've been taking testosterone, so I got a little more energy. I got to take 5 pills a day for the next 3 months. I'm like, child, I hate getting older, but comes with life. Let me hit the banner. And without further ado, let's get into our first topic. So let's talk about box office. So I guess we can give a congratulations to Send Help, which I told you I was going to go see over the weekend. Getting rave reviews. I saw it, absolutely loved it. The horror came in when it needed to be. The people in the movie were horrible, especially Dylan O'Brien. I thought him and Rachel McAdams did a great job. The movie was funny in so many parts. Like, I literally laughed. I've never laughed as out loud, this much watching a horror movie in a long time. So Sam Raimi definitely did his big one with this film. Go check it out if you have not seen it. It's worth the money. And if you ever worked in corporate offices, you have had many of people that you work with that are kind of exactly like these people that run these places. And the fact that people who have been up for a job for 7-8 years and are trying to get a promotion to be like a VP or something or another, how they get overlooked for some moron that their child went to school with and were frat buddies or whatever the case was, only been there 6 months, and they get the bigger position when they ain't did jack shit but kiki with you and play golf. So y'all, we've all been in those situations where we worked our ass off only to get passed over in certain situations. Luckily for me, people have always noticed my work because I make it well known. But for the most part, I've never really had a bad corporate experience, surprisingly. But I know many people who have. So go see that movie. Now let's get into the rest of the stuff. Oh wait, hold on. Let me start closing some of these windows because I got too much stuff open. Okay, so Goliath apparently dominated over David this weekend. Shout out to Deadline for this story, by the way, at the global box office, as Disney 20th Century Studios Send Help had the last laugh over YouTuber indie powerhouse Markiplier's Iron Lung with 28.1 million worldwide debut, 20 million domestic, 8.1 million overseas debut from 47 markets, the latter estimated at a 20.9 million global start from 11 markets in fourth place, which is bizarre because I've never heard of this Iron Lung movie, and I didn't even know some dude from YouTube was making it. But you know what I always say, ever since Chris Stuckman went and put out his movie, any win, any goal or win or whatever is a win for all of us. Those of us who aspire to want to do what someone like a Chris Stuckman or Markiplier has done, where Chris Stuckman, I think, crowdfunded his movie. And also because of, the crowdfunding, and he was able to scrape whatever he could together. I know a independent studio came in and gave him an extra million to spruce it up a little bit. And I know the movie got mixed reviews, but Markiplier did all this with his own money. And starred in it, wrote it, directed it, financed it with his own coins. And I know some people say that it's a big mistake to bank on yourself. No, never not bank on yourself. You should always bank on yourself, because if you don't believe in you, who else will? So that's, to me, watching him, whether you like the movie or not, it's an inspiration for the rest of us who have dreams and aspirations of, like, if you're a YouTuber and you want to be a musician and you want to put out music, take that opportunity, take that step. If you want to be a filmmaker, take that step. I mean, I went to film school, and I know it is not easy to put a movie together, let alone a good one. So they said that it's a respectable start for Send Help, a movie which before P&A cost $40 million. Also, the result is a win for R-rated original films. And come on, that's a fantastic result for the less than $3 million production Iron Lung. We're hearing from foreign BO sources that there were several sellout shows abroad for Iron Lung. Now, Send Help takes Disney in its 10th consecutive week at the global BO. And as of this moment, the Mouse House owns the top 3 spots with Avatar, Fire and Ash with 24.8 million, 5.5 million domestic, 19.3 million from 52 markets, 34% drop abroad, and Zootopia 2 at 23.1 million, 5.8 domestic, 17.3 million overseas in 52 territories, 18% abroad. Now, global rights for Avatar, okay, they're going into all this extra stuff that I still don't care about. I don't care about Age of Ultron and all these other things. This is going into too much specific. So it said Send Help opened at number 1 in Mexico with $1 million, Kuwait, Thailand, and Indonesia. It was number 2 in Bahrain, Iceland, Lebanon, Saudi Arabia with 200,000, UAE, non-local, Argentina, Brazil, Korea, India, Philippines, Malaysia, and Vietnam. The Rachel McAdams and Dylan O'Brien movie opened number 3 non-local in Australia with 800,000. Japan 400K, and Taiwan. Germany did 500K, Italy 400K, Spain 400K, and the Netherlands 300K. Realize Send Help is in 80% of the foreign marketplace. It didn't play UK this weekend, where Ireland planted its flag. The Sam Raimi directed movie hits France on February 11th. So, but they said that Iron Lung is calling domestic at 17 million, with foreign BO sources estimating 3.9 million overseas, and limited sellout, including UK and Ireland, with 1.2 million. Number 4 behind The Housemaid, Hamnet, and Shelter. Australia, New Zealand, Germany, and the Netherlands. So, now in regards of Shelter, which is the Jason Statham movie that I actually want to see, I think I'm gonna go see that this coming week, because I wanted to see it last week, but I was like, I gotta go see Send Help. You know, I will put horror before any other genre. So, because that's like one of my all-time favorite genres, and the fact that horror movies is the only genre right now that I feel is taking creative risks in regards of the type of content and the type of stories that they want to tell, because you can always insert a bit of truth in a horror movie form, and I feel like it's an easier pill to swallow. So that movie did 7.5 million overseas at 12.971 locations. Well, 12,009, apparently I can't read, 12,971 locations in 27 territories, to 5.5 million in North America, for a global opening of 13 million for the 50 million production, which was funded by foreign sales. So they said the PA domestic was around 15 million. And if you want to go large with the Statham action pig, you got to spend more. A Working Man was around 27 million North America P&A. So I've always said that the one thing about Jason Statham movies, the reason why they're usually so successful, and it seems like he tracks more overseas than he does in America. I'll tell you, a lot of times we don't really appreciate a lot of the stars that we have. It seems like overseas artists tend to accept and respect those movies a lot more, but it fluctuates over here. It's probably because, we're the entertainment hub from, around the world. And I feel like maybe that's why we take a lot of it for granted. But, I love action movies just as much as I love horror movies. And Jason Statham is one of my favorite action movie stars. And he always tends to play the same character over and over in so many ways. But they keep his movies on a small budget, but then they end up making a lot of money. So now they also said it played in UK and Ireland. It was number 1 there with 1.3 million ahead of Iron Lung and Primate, and 4% ahead of The Beekeeper, which I can't wait for The Beekeeper Part 2, and 43% ahead of A Working Man. Saudi Arabia, UAE, Egypt, Kuwait, Lebanon, Qatar, or Qatar, China, Netherlands, Greece, Israel, South Africa, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Bulgaria, Croatia/Bosnia, Hungary, Serbia, Slovenia, India, Indonesia, Malaysia, Vietnam, and West. God damn, it's a lot of places. And West Indies. Shelter was number 1 in Saudi Arabia, ahead of Send Help, and 78% ahead of. Wait, they said of Comp? I thought they said Camp. The Accountant 2, number 1 in UAE, ahead of The Accountant 2. Although in the Middle East, it did 2.3 million, which is 40% ahead of The Accountant and in sync with The Beekeeper. Wait a minute. Why are we talking about The Accountant 2? Did they just now get that movie? The Accountant 2 came out like last year. I'm hoping that y'all didn't just, but I know like in certain countries, they do get movies late. I'm like, damn, y'all just now getting that? So that's all great. Another movie that's flopping from Amazon, and we're gonna get to that other Amazon flop in a second. You already know who, the one that's married to that fat fuck in the White House. So Amazon MGM Studios Mercy did 5.6 million abroad in 86 markets, with another 4.7 million. That's 56% drop in North America for its global second frame of 10.3 million and running global cume of $41 million. So here's the thing. The production cost on Mercy is $60 million. The movie so far in 2 weeks has only grossed $41 million. Plus, we don't know how much they spent on the marketing. This is another flop on their hands. And you want to know something? I'm glad this movie is flopping, and I'm going to tell you why. Not only because I think Chris Pratt is a fucking twat burger. Can't stand him. He's an idiot. But also, Amazon doing a movie where you're trying to promote AI and the use of artificial intelligence as being the judge, jury, and executioner of people with crimes or whatever the case is. You're trying to do basically a Timu version of the Minority Report, where Minority Report did a phenomenal job of explaining that whole situation and then leaving people kind of stunned at the way you kind of ended the movie. Like, what? Like, probably the script was written in AI. So the thing is like, I'm glad this movie is flopping because it's going to show that, yeah, no matter how hard y'all trying to push it, especially y'all over there at Amazon, who's firing thousands of people so that way you can replace all those hard workers at Amazon and underpay them because you don't want to pay them a living wage. You want to replace them with machines and artificial intelligence so you can get the products and stuff done out faster because you want to cut corners and I guess own another damn yacht because I guess 2 or 3 ain't enough. Then this is what you get. So I'm glad that movie's flopping. Now, speaking of flopping, let's get to Miss Melania Trump because her movie, no matter how hard they try to slice it over there in all these conglomerates, because I'm like, wait a minute, am I the one failing in math or is the propaganda so strong that they really think that we're so dumb that we can't see the forest for the trees and we can't tell that a movie where you spent $40 million, I don't know how it costs $40 million to make a damn documentary, but okay. $40 million on the documentary, $35 million on marketing. So that's about $75 million. The movie grossed $7 million at the box office. So it exceeded the expectation of that, which is there was a rumor that it was going to make 5 million. Some said 3. It made 7. And most of it, from what I was reading, came from fucking Gen X women down in Texas and Florida. That's where it was mostly the big numbers and the big ticket sales was coming from, which comes as no shock that Florida and Texas, of all places, would be the ones that go running in drove to go see a damn boring ass movie about Melania. And I got some of the reviews of what some of the people were saying. Wait, I was like, hold on, let me hope and see. Oh yeah, I did get it. I was like, make sure. I even got Zatale's review. Shout out to Mehdi Hassan because I like him. But so with that budget, how is a $7 million at the box office on a $75 million budget a win? In what multiverse? So am I like crazy? Do I not know how to count? Like, or is it the fact that these people are sitting here lying with their headlines and all this other stuff because they know if they print the truth, the wannabe dictator in chief in the White House is going to start flying off the handle with these 40,000 whatever he writes on that live social app that he has, and then go on a tirade, fake news and this and this and this, and people believe that because he says it so much, then people believe anything that comes out from the other side is fake news, which brings me to the reviews, because when it came out that on the red carpet or whatever carpet they had at the Kennedy Center Honors, the Kennedy Center place, which sidebar, why are we closing the Kennedy Center for 2 years? For repairs. There's nothing wrong with the place, just like there was nothing wrong with the East Wing of the goddamn White House. So we're just closing things down, and my tax-paying dollars are going to pay for repairs when things don't need to be touched. Like, what are you doing? Everything this wrecking ball touches turns to fucking shit. But anyway, to get back on track. So then when people actually go and see the movie, because they locked out the media, they were allowed on the red carpet. They were allowed to interview her, which of course he couldn't even take a moment to step back and let her have the moment. Even if this documentary is bullshit or whatever the case is, he didn't even allow her to have her moment where she could talk to the press. His big wide back ass had to stand there probably full of with a shitty diaper, standing in front, making sure his presence is known while she's playing the, meet, please, I just married this foreign bitch so she could just be there and be pretty and shut the fuck up. That's what he wanted. But it's like, you can't even let her have a moment because his ego is so goddamn, it's about the size of his and Nicki Minaj's ass put together. So with all of that, then if the fact that the media finally got to see the movie, however they got to see it because they weren't allowed in the Kennedy Center, right? Any review they come out because he said fake news, fake news, fake news, fake news. Now people are going to be like, oh, there's a bias there because they don't believe in what they are politically. Everything. So it's like, y'all can take things that's in politics and just turn it into a whole thing. But then when we bring stuff up, then y'all trying to make things political. No, You can't just sit and think that y'all can say and do and put things out there and you get to have it all. But then, excuse me, when there's a rebuttal, then all of a sudden it's political, it's this, is that. Like, send D from the back. I'm trying to be a little clean with the mouth, but that's probably gonna last about 5 seconds. But anyway, let's get into some of the stuff. So apparently, THR reports that after a sluggish start in pre-sales, Melania has picked up pace and is now tracking above expectations, with the doc targeting a 8 million opening. It grossed almost 3 million Friday alone, with a hefty batch of the ticket sales coming from Texas and Florida, as I stated. And also, let's not forget that I'm sure there were a lot of GOPers and people who were paying to buy out theaters. Also, I was hearing that there were stories going around where they were paying people to go see the movie. So this is what we got to do to get people to get to break even. If y'all still not gonna break even, quiet as it's kept. Now, they said the Amazon MGM documentary, directed by another person that's in the Epstein files, by the way, and has been accused of SA-ing people in the industry, Brett Ratner, with a ridiculous $75 million budget, skipped Thursday previews and instead hit theaters on Friday. No press was allowed to see it, so most of the reviews popping up are from critics who had to buy a ticket, because that's what they wanted, to watch the film. Melania's Melania slightly shed off its wide theatrical rollout, going from 2,000 theaters and now 1,500 across the U.S. this weekend, and its box office receipts are being obsessively tracked, not just by movie journalists, but also political pundits. There are many out there who want to see this film fail spectacularly. Well, it looks like it is, because it's not going to make the money that you put all that money up. It's not going to make it back. Like, it has to make that plus, on top of that. It's got to make more than that. Like, if your budget is $75 million, I would think that what would the amount have to be to break even? I would think it would have to possibly be maybe 200 million. So as for those reviews, they're all nasty. They said barely a single positive thing in the endless paragraphs that would just scroll through. THR calls it an expensive propaganda doc. The Atlantic calls the film a disgrace. Variety calls it Day of the Living Trad Wife. That's funny. The Independent compares it to the birth of not the birth of a nation, and triumph of the will. The Guardian describes it as a gilded trash remake of Jonathan Glazer's The Zone of Interest. So look, what were you going to be? What were you expecting? Shakespeare? I mean, it was going to be a bore. So they also said that are these reactions filled with Nazi imagery? That's shocking. That's shocking to read. Critics had their knives out for the doc the minute it was announced. It's now hard to see why Amazon MGM refuses screening for press. According to the official description, the film offers unprecedented access to the 20 days leading up to the 2025 presidential inauguration, though the eyes of the First Lady-elect herself. It said that the film invites viewers to step inside her world and blah, 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 so on and so forth. But a lot of people saying it was boring. That's what I was hearing. But the Zateo the article, they said, well, he said, I watched, or it was Naomi Lachance, who works over at Zateo, that's Mehdi Hassan's website. I think it's a Substack, actually. So yeah, they said, I watched Melania, a film that tries to whitewash Trump's fascism. So it's probably another thing like that you're coming up in here trying to create a whole new narrative and clean it up and make him try to look, but make him try to look a certain way. But it's like, it doesn't matter how hard you try to clean up his fascism or try to make himself seem more human. It's hard for him to even stay on brand for like 2 seconds, because he'll go back and say something awful or something, whatever. And, people are just happy, oh, we get to have somebody who says something funny or whatever. And I'm like, okay, but what does that have to do? What is somebody acting like your drunken uncle got to do with literally trying to run a fucking country? That's what I want to know. So they said, as immigrants hide from the ICE thugs who are supposedly leaving Maine, I'm 15 minutes outside of Portland, surrounded by people who think the immigrants deserve it, watching the first showing of a $75 million grift of a movie made by a disgraced accused sexual predator and the wife of a fascist. Melania, which is not a documentary, but rather a propaganda film, portrays a woman who wishes to be viewed as someone involved in politics. It shows not only her fittings for her inauguration outfits, but also her meetings with French First Lady Brigitte Macron and with a woman who had been kidnapped by Hamas. Jesus Christ. A person who watched the film with zero knowledge of U.S. politics would see a woman who was forced on peace who is focused on peace and helping children, who is mourning her mother and is proud of her son, who sings along to Billie Jean and YMCA. These people who hate gays singing along with the gayest song ever made. But Melania Trump, the film makes clear, is a willing participant in the regime, and her role is to whitewash her husband's brash, violent fascism. So, whether or not you agree, I mean, I pretty much knew this was going to be some, ridiculous propaganda BS. And it is what it is. But speaking of flops, so since y'all not gonna be honest about the numbers here, y'all want to move the goalposts. Apparently, the movie is not doing well overseas. There was one that they said that at one of the UK theaters, there was a 3-something show where one ticket was sold, and then it was a 5 p.m. show where only 2 tickets were sold. But apparently, they said that it placed 29th on its debut weekend at the UK box office, according to ComScore data. The movie scored a lowly £32,974. That comes out to $44,960 in American, from 155 cinemas at the site average of £212. That'd be $289. It was the 9th most popular new release. That UK site count as high for a documentary, no less than 50K across the weekend for a movie that cost $40 million to license and $35 million to market as a poor return. Amazon and partners rolled out the international red carpet, but it seemingly hasn't struck a chord with overseas audiences. Probably because people outside the United States, well, there's a lot of them here hate him too, but a lot of people overseas don't like his ass either because y'all over there trying to colonize other people's countries. So they also said that Amazon said it wouldn't provide international data. Of course, why would they? All the crooks in there, Jeff Bezos, fucking Dr. Evil looking ass. Why would he? Now they said and his wife looked like the damn Joker. And they said in Italy, a country with a relatively Trump-friendly government, the film launched to only 6. Well, I don't know what their type of how do you call what their money is or whatever, because in the UK they have pounds, in certain countries they have rupees. I don't know how because they got this weird little sign of like a backwards E. So it's 6,520. So I would just say that to be on the safe side, because I'm not sure what Italy calls their stuff, pounds, dollars, whatever. But according to that, in American dollars, it comes out to 7,696 from 94 cinemas. And so it charted 38th among all movies. This comes after Amazon spent millions on the international rollout and campaign, as we reported in recent days. Well, look, all of this at the end of the day is a write-off because Dr. Evil wanted his tax incentives over there at Amazon, where he can still not have to pay his taxes. He could stiff his damn people that work for him and all this other stuff. So blow a little smoke up Trump ass, flatter him a little bit, woo, 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 pet him like the little animal that he is. And, I'll promise I'll put some money up against some little vanity project for your wife to keep her ass busy, because what else is she doing? She's supposed to be doing first lady shit. She don't know the first thing about being a first lady. She do know how to be a trad wife, but for the most part, what does she know about being a first lady or anything in politics? I mean, she could teach you how to say leave the money on the drawer in 7 languages, or not on the drawer, on top of the dresser in 7 languages. Maybe she could teach y'all how to do that. That should be the tutorial that she could be teaching y'all about. But nevertheless, say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? Because I know it was a lot. We had to get in the box office, regular box office, and Melania. They trying to make it like she did major numbers. She didn't. Not internet or foreign or domestic, I should say. She didn't. But they're going to try to move the goalposts, I guess, because they want to blow smoke up that man's ass and don't want to have him go on a tirade. So, yeah, the documentary, as nobody should be shocked, it didn't do well. But they're going to tell you otherwise. So I definitely want to hear from y'all. Let me know what your thoughts are on this story in the comments down below. Okay, so let's see what the people say, because there's a lot of comments in here. Vacation time soon. Last day of work, 2 days of getting house ready and packed, then off on Thursday. Well, have fun. I could use a goddamn vacation. Ashwagandha? What's that? Is that in Ashwagandha? Why am I thinking of Wakanda? You said that Justin Bieber performance. Well, we'll get to that because I was thoroughly impressed with Justin Bieber. I was like, first of all, why is that boy up there in his drawers? Not that I minded, because I was like, them drawers, his ass did look a little bigger. But and then I got annoyed with them constantly panning to Haley. I'm like, can y'all not? It's probably just them two there. Kind of like, why I was looking at like, why was Bad Bunny at a table by himself? Like, he had no friends, he had nobody to hang out with. I mean, I know he used to date one of the Jenners, but I was like, why they got Benito at the table all by himself? And am I bugging or was because I don't recall Lady Gaga being there earlier when Trevor Noah was doing his bit with Bad Bunny. I don't recall him being Lady Gaga and Michael because I got tired of seeing him. And I'll probably see him again when she comes back to the garden for the Mayhem Bowl. Um, they were at that table and I was like, I don't remember them. And then oh my god, who's the guitarist that were was it Andrew Watt? He was there next on the circuit. We'll get onto all that in a second. The MC has 300 million. Wait, the MC has $350 million in fundraising, while according to the Associated Press, the DNC is basically broke, and it's because their messaging is wrong. Well, they brought this upon themselves because first of all, their messaging has always been wrong. Why did Gaga win? We'll get into that in a second. Look, she won for best pop vocal, and didn't she win also for Abracadabra? That album was the best, though. I have constantly said that on this show that I did not like. Mayhem was more mayhem than Mayhem. So I wasn't really feeling the record. There's a couple of good songs on there, but the album wasn't that good. I mean, let me tell you something. The tour sells the album better than the album itself. So go to see the Mayhem Ball. Who's a father? Well, you said being a father is a privilege. Well, look, not everybody wants to have kids. That and number one, and number two, kids are expensive. And I don't think asking for help makes you stupid. Because I always feel like, look, they didn't come up with that phrase. It takes a village to raise a child for nothing. And I'm tired of big back Chuck Schumer. And you said last year's best picture cost $6 million. Miracles can happen, but we know there are industry gatekeepers. Diane Warren, 17 nominations. Yeah, I'm still shocked over the fact that how is it that Diane Warren, who's written some of the most iconic songs in music history, has no Grammys? Like, huh? But we do like, well, look, once upon a time, he was a model before he started doing, kicking people butt on the big screen. Did you watch the trailer for Ryan Murphy's Love Story? No, I did not. One person I know is not intrigued is Caroline Kennedy's what's her last name? Sloshberger, one of them people. Well, anyway, one of the Kennedys, I think JFK's daughter or whatever is not impressed with the JFK thing that's coming out. You already know that man like to embellish the truth. So I don't know. I always side-eyed him whenever Ryan Murphy does things based on real life events, especially when it came to the monster, like how he embellishes things and sensationalizes things. I know that rubs a lot of people the wrong way, but I always say, look, if you want real accuracy on stuff, watch a documentary. Because did people feel like that back in the day when Oliver Stone did the JFK movie? Did people feel like that? I don't know if, well, maybe because there was no social media, so people weren't really able to voice their opinion. So maybe they did feel that way. With more streaming these days, folks can get money and an audience from things like, okay. And look, first of all, they should have put the Melania thing on Amazon. It should have went straight to Amazon. I mean, I feel like a lot of people would have secretly went and watched it. They probably would have recouped some of the money there. But I don't know if when you dump something on a streaming service, do they make money from all of that? That's probably why at the end of the day, Netflix is out here trying to buy a studio. They didn't really market Murphy, far as I can tell, probably because they thought it would. Yeah, they did kind of dump it out there, and I did notice there wasn't a lot of promotion behind it, but it looked terrible anyway. Because the only time I saw the trailers was when I went to the movies, and they would put it in the coming attractions. Tax money was not used for the East Wing. Well, that's what they say. but also corporate donations is the ones who put that money up. You said Melania has about as much depth as her face screen. And you can't see past your own wide ass. Piece of shit, motherfucker. You can get up out of here too. Don't come up in here trying to think you're gonna read me and thinking that that's gonna get you a pass. Kindly go fuck yourself. And you said I didn't even know this one was getting a biopic. The administration needs to start. Any of you Trump supporters come up in here, y'all will get cursed the fuck out. Just so y'all know, so you can leave the room. Because you ain't ready for this mouth. I didn't even know this one was getting a biopic. The administration needs to stop digging into pop culture because it's clearly not working. She always looks a mess. Did y'all see that wig glue on the side of her face when she went to sit with Kiki with Trump and then holding that old stank hand of his? Well, that is true. Never be clean with the mouth. How do we know tax dollars are not being used? Exactly. That's why I said because they told them the money is not being used, they believe it. But our tax dollars being used for a lot of things that we don't want it used for, and especially all these wars and all these other things that's going on. I don't want my taxpaying dollars to go towards that. And trust and believe, our taxpaying dollars are going towards a lot of these things. So, and they calling it Trump derangement syndrome. You motherfuckers wish I had Trump derangement syndrome. Y'all wish I had it. As I eat this chip. So like anybody deranged with that motherfucker, y'all sit up here and suck the shit out of his ass like an extra in the Human Centipede. Wait, what? You said Rotten Tomato needs a worm score. No, I got what you meant. Can you imagine? I mean, Tubi is owned by Fox. So yeah, it'd be appropriate to go to that damn channel. Exactly. While they lay off workers, but y'all don't see that because y'all head so far up that ugly motherfucker's ass. As somebody who was born and raised in New York and is aware of the grift that Trump has been doing long before he even decided to dive into politics, these people want to jump on my line and tell me about this man. Okay. We've been aware of Donald Trump and his scams and schemes and how he was a joke in the world of real estate long before y'all even knew who the fuck he was and decided to jump up there and run for president and act like y'all drunken uncle because that was enough for y'all to go to the ballot box. But you're going to tell me, a born and bred and raised New Yorker about Donald Trump. Okay. Y'all know more than me. Where would he go? You said how much would it well, we'll have to find that out, but I'm sure it'll drop because y'all want to sit up here and talk about first week numbers. Second week, it's probably gonna fall off. I almost forgot to mention my celebrity crush was at your job. Wait, who? Oh, did I tell y'all Timothy Chalamet was at the Knicks game the other day? And I had to work that big, boxing fight on set. Oh my god, that fight was a lot. It was a lot going on. Me having to finagle with media because they would wind up in the wrong places, me having to tell them where they had to go. Then I'm dealing with other boxers and then people trying to run down and myself trying to take, y'all didn't take y'all behind up there. And then the boxers want to stay. I'm like, y'all gonna need to go up there. So it was just a lot going on. And then the guy, did y'all see the fight? And I know it went viral. I forgot the guy's name, but the one that he ended up winning his fight, but he had a system on his head. He needs some of that Nicki Minaj wig glue. He had a system on top of his head, got hit, and the system came on. See, this is how y'all can't be up there like this is something out of the Real Housewives of New Jersey, because that's what that reminded me of. When the Joes got into a fight and he got that stuff because he was trying to cover up the bald spot, that tar, whatever the hell it was, all over his skin. He's like, what the fuck is your brother-in-law be spraying the top of his head to try to hide that bald spot? He just had to take it in because they was clowning him on TV and just shaved the sides. You got a nice shaped head, so you can get away with a baldy. Child, his wife, the whole family was in my section. And she up there trying to act like she his coach the whole time. And that whole situation went, and everybody was up Nick cackling. But I was like, she kept going. Yeah, shout out to Steven Spielberg who is a EGOT winner. We'll get into all that in a second. He sensationalized the heck out of American Crime Story Versace. I watched it live and kept wondering, did this actually happen? The People versus O.J. Simpson. I remember when I did the red carpet for the People versus O.J. Simpson, and we had what the hell's his name? John Travolta. All of them was there. They're the ones who were deranged. Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Which is why they like to, point fingers. Oh yeah, I wasn't there for the. I told you I barely get Ranger shifts, probably because they know I don't particularly care for hockey. But yeah, I believe. I mean, we always get a lot of big celebrities and stuff for the Rangers. My question is, did they win? Because every time I turn around, they losing, especially a home game. But anyway, all right, y'all. So and Diz, but and people who sit in Seattle. Wait, what happened with Seattle? Well, y'all let me know as after I get to this next topic, which is going to be a lot. So let's talk about the Grammys, because the Grammys happened last night. I was gonna try to watch it live because I have Paramount Plus. I lasted like 5 minutes. I was like, I can't. So I had to turn it off because it was like I can't with the commercials. Trevor Noah annoys me, and there were parts of the show that he was giving me my life with, but it's like, oh my god, this boy is so annoying. But I guess he works for sort of that middle America Disney-fied safe host, so they went with him. And this is his last year, as he mentioned, because I guess that's him fulfilling his contract with CBS. If he decides to come back and do it for ABC, because that's where it's going next year, it's going to ABC beginning of 2027. Then they got to figure out, okay, they got to probably pay him more than he was getting over there at CBS. So it's just good to start fresh and new, and get some fresh blood up in here. Maybe get Nicki Glazer. I don't particularly care for the Golden Globes, but I think she's pretty funny. And she was funny. Her bit with Tiana Taylor, speaking of which, the titties were sitting on Tiana. Tiana's body, oh my God, that girl's body is bad. I got to give it up to her. I don't know who her trainer is, but they be working the hell out of her body. That's a good looking woman too. So I liked her banter back and forth with Nicki Glazer. I almost said Nikki Haley, child. But yeah, so the Grammys happened last night. A lot of interesting things happened as well. So yeah, so congratulations to a lot of the people who won yesterday, which of course will be Kendrick Lamar, where he got the most nominations, 9, and he only walked away with 5. So he did walk away with the most. Benito got 3, but we'll get into his in a second. But he won all the big major ones. Him and Kendrick were kind of going back and forth with winning all the majors. So he got Record of the Year for Luther, his collaboration with SZA. Do we need to go into the whole thing about Cher right now, or should we say because Luther, apparently Luther Vandross won a Grammy last night when Cher came out and was like, and the winner is Luther. I'm like, Luther, Glenn, who? Who, ma'am? Who we talking about? I was like, I hope her mind not going bad like Trump. Because you was up there rambling for a little bit, talking about when you was a little girl and your career and having a TV show when you was in your 20s. And I felt like we was getting to share a biopic up there for a second. And Bruno Mars, the one that like cosplaying as Sam Cooke and Little Richard, he was sitting up there looking like a little baffled and confused, but he clapped along. Speaking of which, I was so over that opening. That opening was whack with him and Miss Thing from Blackpink. That Apata song, can we just put that out of its misery? I'm sick of hearing it. The performance was trash to me. I was just so underwhelmed by it. Miss Thing was probably up there lip syncing like Addison Rae during her best new artist performance. Do we need to get into? Oh wait, we're gonna get into that. I got to stop jumping all over the place. We just got to focus. Because I did like the way they did the whole best new artist thing. How they did it. I'm trying to remember. Is that the first time they ever did something like that? If they do, they need to keep that going, because I liked how they did the whole all the best new artists kind of come up with something really creative or whatever. But yeah, the Cher thing with SZA and getting her Lifetime Achievement Award, and what she was presented with the award by Trevor Noah. And after she delivered her acceptance speech, she was about to leave. And then no, Trevor had to go, I need to come back and announce the record of the year winner. So he was like, before you go, you can announce the nominees. And he said, I could do it, but it's not the same. And then she came back and then she said Luther, I don't know, she said grand draws or van draws. And then they were even joking about it. But look, SZA was like, they had a good time with it. She was like, there's no hard feelings. It is what it is. Sometimes ish happens. So let's not make a mountain out of a molehill over the situation. So good on you, Cher. You got up there and, that's why these shows is fun when it's live because it's messy. Anything can happen and all that good stuff. So, as I said, Bad Bunny picked up this climactic prize. He got AOTY, which would be Album of the Year. Billie Eilish got Song of the Year. She seemed surprised. Not as fake surprised like Taylor Swift usually is when she wins. But Billie looked like she was genuinely surprised when she won for Wildflower. Olivia Dean, who I have to say, I love me some Olivia Dean. Yeah, she's not moving the goalposts in regards of like redefining and shaping R&B and that soul music or whatever the case was. She got up there and got Best New Artist. But I will say that speaking of Best New Artist, since we on it, they like the whole Best New Artist thing. Addison got up there and lip sync for her life like she was trying out for a new season of Drag Race, or she was trying to do Work the World, compete with them girls. Somber, like this performance, although some people was mad because he wasn't moving like Jagger, and I'm sitting there like, come on, he's a skinny little white boy with a little stiff. But I did catch that shade that y'all threw because right after his performance, y'all done panned to Benson Boone. So I did catch that. I was like, "Ooh, y'all shady." Y'all, they got I love a shady cameraman, but I was like, I noticed y'all was being shady with that because they're kind of like similar in the way they do their music and their styles, whatever. Except he wasn't gonna be doing no gimmicky flipping crap. Then we had who else did we have up there? What was a bunch of people? First, another thing. Who was the girl that sing Messy? I was surprised she showed up because didn't she say that she was kind of like taking a break or whatever? Because every time she get up on stage, she passed it out or whatever the case is. So I hope she worked out whatever she's, and she did win a Grammy too, which she was surprised. Lola Young. See, now it came to me. I told you, it always takes a minute. Lola Young got up there and performed Messy for the 4th millionth time because that seemed to be the only song we hear from her. Got up there and performed. I like Cat's Eye. Although they're more dancers than singers, it was very much giving K-pop and what that whole thing is about. And it was cute that they panned to the K-pop girls in the audience, or they probably just some skinny Korean girls that were just randomly there at the tables. I don't know. But it was cute or whatever, but they did their little performance. So I did like the Best New Artist thing. Now, another thing I want to point out is Alex Warren. When he got up there and sang Ordinary, which am I the only one that gets in my feelings every time that song come on? Like, I be getting emotional. I remember recently I saw the trailer. This is how I know that this is what happens when you're in your 40s. I was watching the new trailer for that movie. Damn, I forgot what it's called. But the one that did that movie based on the book with that Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni's in. Well, then she got another one of her books. What is his name? Colleen Hoover or whatever. She has another movie based on her book coming out. This time it's got Tariq Withers in it and Micah Monroe, who looks exactly like Blake Lively, by the way. It's funny how they have these certain types. They have that Ordinary damn song in that damn trailer. Why am I crying in a movie theater? Like, what's going on? I'm like, why am I getting emotional? It's an emotional song. It's very, and I started feeling it again last night when he came out. Although there were some issues that he was having, I was like, okay, his inner ears are acting because when you know music and you study music, I knew there was an issue he was having with his inner ear because you need the inner ears because you can't hear the music unless they're in there. So it keeps you on key with everything that's going on. So then when he took it out, he was 2 seconds behind everybody else. And he was like trying to put it back in his ear and hair. So he was having a lot of issues. So he also he went to his social media because I do have his Instagram. Give me a second. And I want y'all to hear because he posted exactly what he was hearing in his ear as he was performing Ordinary. So please hold. Basically he was saying that he was hearing like this weird noise or whatever, like it was the playback which was going crazy in his ear and it was just messing with him and he was just struggling to hear what was going on. So I just wanted y'all to know that in case anybody like, oh, that performance was terrible, whatever. Stuff happens when you're dealing with um oh wait, hold on, because that wasn't what I wanted to do. That stuff happens when you're in the middle of performing and then you have an inner ear issue. It happens to the best of them. A lot of artists go through it. That's why a lot of times if you see artists where they rip the inner ear out of their ears because they can't hear themselves and there's an issue and they gotta know, they gotta fix it. So the Record Academy presented trophies in 95 categories, with 86 of those being given out in an afternoon premiere ceremony, with the final 9 falling into the performance-heavy primetime telecast. Lamar picked up 3 awards in the telecast: Best Rap Song for TV Off, Melodic Rap Performance for Luther with SZA, the rap performance for Chains of Whips, on which he is a featured performer, before adding 2 more to that total after the CBS broadcast began. When he won the 4th Grammy of the night, for Best Rap Album, that win pushed him over the top to become the most awarded rapper in Grammy history, beating Jay-Z's old mark. He added some extra security to hold onto that record for a while, with his 5th win of the night for Record of the Year. Lady Gaga personally picked up 2 awards, with a win for pop vocal performance for Abracadabra being presented on the telecast, following a win in the pre-tel ceremony for Best Dance Pop Recording. Abracadabra itself won 3 Grammys, the 2 given out to Gaga, plus an award for Best Remix Recording that went to her producer remixer Gasafo Sign. So for the person that was asking earlier in the comments, why did Lady Gaga win? She only won for Abracadabra. She didn't win for Mayhem, which I know a lot of people was thinking Mayhem was going to. I was like, no, it's not. First of all, that album was not good enough to even be considered to win a album of the year. And I think she even knew she wasn't winning it. I said, and I think most of the people who understand the music industry and tea leaves, the people who were going to be duking out for AOTY was either going to be Kendrick Lamar or Bad Bunny. And I felt in my gut, I said Bad Bunny is going to win. Now, with Bad Bunny winning AOTY, wait, hold on. I'm going to hold on to that because I want to get to the other. Now, I want to also, before I forget, let's get to Lady Gaga's performance. So speaking of Abracadabra, she did perform it. I know people were complaining because she didn't do like a dance break and all these other things. I'm like, you've seen the dance break. You've seen it at the VMAs. You've seen it where she basically gave y'all the tour, the Mayhem tour on the VMAs. Because I told y'all how, when I broke it down to y'all, how that was all shot because I was there when she was filming it. So she gave you with that. You go to the Mayhem Ball, you get the dance break. You watch the music video, you get the dance breaks. In here, I'm glad she kind of switched it up because what else is she going to give you with Abracadabra? There's no time for her to go in and actually come up with a whole new routine and try to remix everything. She's currently still on tour with with the Mayhem Ball. She's still doing that. It wraps up in April. So she's not going to come in and give you something different in regards to, oh, we got to come up with new choreography and we got to give you the same old, same old. So I'm glad that she switched it up. My only issue that I had with the performance was the camera shots. The way that they were trying to film her, and she had that eyeball hat on, which I thought was kind of cute. The shots from the camera was what was bothering me with the performance. It wasn't necessarily her performance. I like the fact that it was just her and the band and she was with the piano and moving around and trying to come up with these creative things. It was just the way they were trying to film it was my issue. Another performance that I loved was, before I move on to the rest, I love Tyler the Creator's performance with the dynamite and the gas coming out of the thing and blowing up the gas station and him falling on the floor. I'm like, it's so dramatic, but that's so Tyler. If you've seen his Cornucopia tour, which I did work, it's a phenomenal show. He is definitely a rock star. Say what you want about him and some of the colorist stuff and all the things that people have with things that he's said that have been problematic. But as a performer, Tyler the Creator definitely pushes the boundaries of hip hop, and that's what I like about him. I particularly did not care for Pharrell when he got his old coon ass up there and started saying whatever he was saying in that damn speech. I fast forwarded through him. I didn't particularly care for him. Like, I appreciate what Pharrell gives in regards of being a producer and the how he changed the game of hip hop, you know, musically and creatively and that sort of thing. But as a person, I don't particularly care for him. I don't know him personally, but some of the stuff that he has said in the past and his opinions on things, no bueno. Not for me. So Gaga and Carpenter also, well, we already talked about her performance, but let's talk about Sabrina Carpenter. Girl, why are you still performing Man Child? We need to move on from that. But I will say this. The airport setup, I love the production design of what she was doing with that song. It was cute. I enjoyed it. She was definitely up there dancing. The mic was on, unlike Addison Rae's, but her mic was on. She was up there performing and she was giving it, pop, dip, and spin and doing all the things that she needed to do. Did she also lose more weight? Because she looked a lot smaller. So I like the performance, but it's time, sis, for us to move on from Man Child. But I guess when that's the only good song on that recent album you just dropped, that I felt like you just threw together because you want to capitalize on the success of Espresso and you needed more stuff to perform while you're out on your little tour. That's what I guess, is what's to be expected. Now, another thing we should talk about, I definitely loved Justin Bieber's performance. And I don't particularly care for Justin Bieber, but he definitely has been proven that he's like a real artist. You did kind of like rip off Ed Sheeran a little bit with the guitar and the putting all the different sounds and stuff up in there. The only thing is, he is better looking. I don't want to go there, but he's better looking. Body is in much better shape. All that other thing. Justin Bieber, unlike the other one I just mentioned, is fuckable. So I guess maybe when you take something from someone else and you take their thing and put it on someone else, it kind of is an easier pill for people to swallow. But you did rip off Ed Sheeran because we saw that same performance that he did at Jingle Ball, you just did at the Grammys. So I had to call that out. But what else? Oh, so yeah, they talk about, well, we talked about Justin Bieber. Rose performed, of course. I told you I didn't particularly care about her performance with Bruno Mars. Clips performed. Their performance was cute. You could have did without Pharrell, who was up there lip syncing too, because I'm like, child, that microphone was nowhere near your mouth, but you up in there trying to act like you belting like you screaming for Hudson. And so he also got the Dr. Dre Global Impact Award. Oh yeah, so the best new artists, because I was forgetting all the names. So they had Olivia Dean, Leon Thomas, Alex Warren, Cat's Eye, Addison Rae, Somber, Lola Young, and the Marias. They did the best new artist segment. I actually liked the way they did that. And because I had to take a lot of notes. It was a lot. Oh, let's talk about the tributes. So they did the tributes to Ozzy and D'Angelo and Roberta Flack. I have a dream, and even though Dr. King's birthday was last month, we still in Black History Month, so I'm gonna just carry it over on here. I have a dream that one day somebody gonna do a real tribute to Ozzy Osbourne and do right by that man. Y'all done fucked up the thing the first time when y'all had Youngblood up there, and I saw him in the audience. Then y'all decided to get Post Malone crackhead ass up there to do whatever he called himself doing to Ozzy Osbourne. Like, no, what was that? I'm like, having him up there performing and doing a tribute to Ozzy Osbourne is like asking Kesha and Billy Porter to do a tribute to Mariah Carey. Oh, wait, that happened already. And we all saw how that turned out. So that was a chop. But let's get to the D'Angelo. D'Angelo's performance, I thought the tribute to him was everything. I loved Bilal sang down. I was like, first of all, I just feel like Bilal is just underrated as a singer. He's an amazing singer. So I've always been a fan of Bilal since like the early days when I was out here just going hard for the dirty backpack click type of vibe. That whole sound with the Erykah Badu's and the who I think has a new album coming out, and Jill Scott and D'Angelo and Angie Stone and that whole vibe. I was a big old dirty backpack head when it was coming out to that. And I was loving the fact that Q-Tip came out to present the whole situation. So I was living for that. But so yeah, I love the D'Angelo tribute and the Roberta Flack tribute. Sidebar. Can we talk about Lauryn Hill? Miss Mamas was out of breath, but I could tell because Miss Mama also put on some weight. But we're not here to fat shame. What I'm saying that it felt like because of her size, because she's a small woman, and you gained so much weight, because you were trying to hide it under that dress. I felt like it was hindering on her vocals because we know Lauryn could sing, but it felt like at parts that the vocals wasn't going where she wanted it to go because Miss Mamas was out of breath, and you ain't moving around. You were standing there. So that was my only issue. And so also they said that Bruce Springsteen narrated a video tribute to Brian Wilson of the Beach Boys, while Bob Weir and the break of the Grateful Dead and Sly Stone of Sly and the Family Stone also were remembered in video tributes. And so we also had presenters such as Carole King, Chapel Grown, who looked like she was so happy up there to present the Best New Artist Award. She looked like she did not want to be there. But I'm just like, can we just put her out of our like? To me, she needs to just sashay away since you want to be a drag queen. Sashay away, sis, because you just not giving me what I need to be given. Like your attitude, I feel like just puts a real stench on me liking you as a musician or even your songs. So yeah, then they had Doechii came out with Queen Latifah. Shout out to the Queen. Or hell, the Queen. UNITY. Then we had Harry Styles came out and presented Bad Bunny with his award. What was that top he was wearing? That was that top. The top was a chop, but I'm trying to say Harry Styles be trying to do different things with his fashions, but the outfit was a chop for me. Jeff Goldblum was there. Carol G, who did presented with Marcelo Hernandez. I did like their banter together because it was so true. They talk about Latinos and the fact that your parents will wake you up at 7 a.m. to clean the house. I was like, that is so true. Nicki Glazer, as I mentioned earlier, Q-Tip, Tiana Taylor. Yeah, we already talked about them. Now, they said that one of the big upsets was when British singer Lola Young won for Best Pop Solo Performance for Messy over 4 superstars with higher profiles in the U.S., and Billie Eilish winning Song of the Year for Wildflower. Spring Roll was a triple winner, winning Best Country Album during the live telecast of Beautifully Broken after picking up 2 awards in the pre-telecast, and then him getting up there acting like he a damn pastor trying to tell more people to get right with Jesus. I'm like, sir, I need you to mind your motherfucking business. Worry about your weight loss. Worry about the things that you got going on in your life, and stop telling people what they need to do because you got right with what you got right with. Your path is your. This is what I tell with everybody. Your path is your path. Don't come up in there trying to tell people to get right with something because you got your life together. That's your thing. Now, I'm not saying that people shouldn't get their life together because you should, but his path is his path. And for you to say like, okay, Jesus worked for you, but other people don't believe in the Sky Daddy that you believe in. So stop trying to. I hate when people always try to indoctrinate their religious beliefs on other people. Stop doing that. And he already does that in all his damn shows. He spent more time up there preaching like he a goddamn pastor during a Sunday sermon than singing songs. And that was one of the overall complaints I was hearing from a lot of my coworkers when he did his concert, his stadium tour with Post Malone last summer, which I just heard today. He's announcing that they're doing a part 2, a sequel of sorts, where they're going out on tour together to do another stadium tour. So for those of y'all who care, now you know. And then him and Bunny up in there singing in each other's face to Ordinary. I was like, get the camera off them, please. So, oh, and among those who picked up 2 awards during during the pre-telecast, we had Kalani, The Cure, Turnstile, Leon Thomas, Mavis Staples, I'm With Her, Gustavo Dudamel, Amy Allen, and Ludwig Göransson for his work on The Sinner's soundtrack and score. And also, I want to give a shout out to one of my favorite Butch Queen performers, Duran Bernard, who cannot see like the way he ran up on that stage and accepted that Grammy. I was living. I was like, so it's a win for the Butch Queens. So shout out to Duran Bernard who got there because I live for Duran Bernard. I love his music. He definitely sings down. You know, if you could hop, then you could hear. If you haven't heard Miss Thing's songs, then I don't know what to tell you, but you definitely need to listen to Duran Bernard. He's one of my favorite artists. But anyway, so now other winners in the pre-telecast include Golden, Lay Faye, Chris Stapleton, Tyler Childers, Zach Top, Jean-Baptiste, Youngblood, Circuit, FKA Twigs, Clips, and Pusha T, Billy Strings, Buddy Guy, and Wicked duet partners Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande. Did also Joni Mitchell win? They mentioned her. She was in the audience. Now, they said Circuit picked up Producer of the Year non-classical for work on several projects. Gaga's Mayhem album among them. Songwriter of the Year went to Amy Allen. I wonder if he won anything I was going to say for Ava Max, but he didn't work on that new album. Now, iconic filmmaker Steven Spielberg also secured the status as an EGOT winner on Sunday after winning his first Grammy Award for producing the music by John Williams that won the Best Music Film category. So shout out to him and all that other stuff. Also, you know, before we move on, because there's a lot that we got to get to in regards of all of this stuff, Let's get into this stuff regarding Nicki Minaj because she had a whole lot to say regarding Trevor Noah and Billy Porter. So I'm trying to think, which one should I do first? Hold on. Oh wait, there were some other ones before we get to that. Because I was like, what was the dance music category? Because I want to hold on. Best dance electronic recording went to Tame Impala, End of Summer. First of all, that album got mixed reviews, and I didn't particularly care for it. I don't think that End of Summer by Tame Impala was. I mean, it's a good song. The album overall was great, but he was up against Skrillex, Kaytranada, Skepta, and Black Boy Max, and Disclosure and Anderson .Paak. So it's a one song, but oh my, Tame Impala winning over that? Okay. And then of course, Abracadabra went to Lady Gaga. Well, Best Dance Pop Recording went to Abracadabra, Lady Gaga, where she was up against Selena Gomez and Benny Blanco, Zara Larson, Midnight Sun, Just Keep Watching from F1 the Movie, and Pink Pantheress Illegal. And Best Dance Electronic Album, shout out to FKA Twigs, Eusexual. I actually like that album and the other version of Eusexual that she came out with. But she was up against Fred again, Pink Pantheress, Rufus Du Sol, and Skrillex. So there's that. But now we can move on from that and let's get into the Nicki stuff. So, because I'm combining all this together. So apparently, Trevor Noah had some spicy things to say about Nicki Minaj because, you know, when he goes around, and this was the part that made me uncomfortable because I was like, I hate this part. That was the part that made me turn it off and be like, I'll watch it to the next day, which is today. And so I can fast forward through all the parts I didn't want to particularly, you know, stick with it and have to sit through commercials and all that stuff. So I actually watched it today. So I was just over it. And I didn't want to watch the live because he was going through this thing of running around through the tables, you know, kikiing with the celebrities. It was kind of annoying me. But after he was doing all that, he did the bits with Pharrell and Justin Bieber and Bad Bunny and all this other stuff, which I did find the Bad Bunny bit to be the funniest part of the situation because he was trying to get him to break the thing he has where he can't perform until the Grammys. I mean, not the Grammys, the Super Bowl, because he's doing the Super Bowl halftime in a couple of days, like next Sunday or this coming Sunday. So he couldn't perform, which we all knew that. I mean, I think any of us I guess maybe I'm too in the industry, I knew this, but I'm like, yeah, if you're contractually binded to perform somewhere else on a rival. Wait, hold on. Is the Super Bowl on CBS? I'm not gonna look that up. Because I'm like, if it's on the same channel, I don't know why it's an issue. But he probably, because you spend months putting that show together, you can't just all of a sudden be like, well, I've already got this down. Now I got to come up with a whole new routine specifically for the Grammys. That wouldn't work. It's like, y'all just going to have to wait and see what I'm bringing at the Super Bowl. So Trevor Noah went and said, basically that, you know, she's still at the White House doing stuff with Trump, whatever. So of course she decides to jump on the line and decide to talk about rituals and things, even said that Trevor Noah is a homosexual and has a secret boyfriend and he ain't out of the closet and all this other stuff. So now that's the go-to. And this is what I told you about bitches that look like her and act like her. They sit and want to kiki and break bread with the sissies and all this other stuff. The minute you say something against them, you a sissy, you a punk, and you a rhymes with maggot. This is the go-to with a lot of these bitches with their crooked ass wigs. They got the wig glue coming off because them same sissies, punks, and rhymes with maggots that you actually put in your employment was tired of your ass and then let wig glue sit up on the side, as you could see in this. If you look close on the side of that picture, the wig glue is showing. Ain't the first time they had her going out these streets looking a mess. But so she went and said this: as they do their ritual tonight, God Almighty will reveal himself to them. The ritual will backfire on them. God will not be mocked. Blessed is the mighty name of Jesus Christ. Every tongue that rises up above me in judgment shall be condemned and put to shame. Here this psycho bitch go with all this Sky Daddy psycho babble and sit up here talking about as they do their ritual. Oh, you mean the same one? Because last time I checked, the ritual that you referring to, where they over there where the Epstein files was just dropped and the unredacted ones, because the ones that have like very few little blanket whatevers, I posted the unfiltered versions all over my social media, where it shows that that same man you running around getting that gold card, which he actually said that was a memento. That's not a real gold card. So she out here tap dancing for nothing. He goes and it was revealed in the latest bout of the Epstein files that they was out here auctioning off children. He was sexually abusing children. They had Don Jr. was mentioned. Ivanka was mentioned. Eric Jr. Eric was mentioned. He ain't a junior, but Eric was mentioned. All the kids, everybody except Barron was mentioned in that situation. So, and they accidentally posted the unredacted version. But of course, when you post the stuff on social media, even if you get rid of it, it's still forever. There are people that can find those things and post it on social media. And those versions, I ended up screenshotting, copying, and I posted on my social media platforms. So if people want to come up in here, his supporters, and move goalposts, and even want to talk about, and before you even try it, when y'all want to talk about Jay-Z and who was it that said Pusha T and all those other mess, they said no, those were FBI, like somebody called up the FBI, was making complaints, whatever. They're not in the Epstein files. So y'all sit up here trying to make shit up because y'all want to move the goalposts, and this bitch decides to go on social media and start spreading lies about Aaliyah and Foxy Brown and all these other things that she doesn't even have credence to. First of all, Aaliyah's not here to defend herself. So, and you weren't even a thing in the industry before Aaliyah was even a superstar. So keep her name out your mouth. And you shouldn't be sitting up in here talking about all of a sudden you give a damn about kids when your brother is a whole goddamn PDF file. Out here went and raped his own stepdaughter. So we going to sit up here and try to move goalposts when we're not going to check our own shit? Ma'am, don't do it. Because you know me, I'm very prone to pulling evidence up and showing that mirror back at your ass that you're trying to post on other people. So y'all come up here, you want to sit and throw Jesus Christ and things because you know that the minute y'all hear certain buzzwords, like you a goddamn sleeper agent, you mention, you mentioned Jesus or God or whatever it is, then all of a sudden y'all done forgot everything else because they said the buzzword and y'all automatically fall lockstep in line. So my brain is I am way too up here in the higher realm to be full out of line with the foolishness that these people be, in the swill of bullshit. So I see through all her mess. And then have the nerve to go on Katie Miller's podcast and spew more homophobia. So at what point, sissies, punks, and rise with maggots, are y'all gonna wake up and realize she was never for y'all? I've seen through this bitch from the beginning. I never particularly cared for Nicki Minaj, and I've been sounding the alarm about her for years, even when people try to come for me on social media. But you already know I see through the bullshit. But now it's nice that a lot of people are starting to wake up, even though there's still a lot of y'all still asleep in the cult. A lot of y'all, come out and say that, and you out here spewing inaccuracies. I'd have been like, I'd sue her. But then again, I wouldn't sue her because I'm like, okay, so what's wrong with being a homosexual? At least I'm getting some ass. I'm getting more ass to your goddamn toilet. You out here fucking a felon and got a slow ass child. So if we sit out here doing all of this, what you just mad at your life because, like I said, you out here punching the air like Skeletor because everybody else is out here thriving, having a career, and doing all these other things. You've pretty much been blacklisted, but you from the industry, and you brought all this upon yourself. If you wasn't such an evil ass bitch, you wouldn't be where you are today. And this ain't got nothing to do with her supporting Trump. She was this way long before she came out with her supporting him. She was always someone that was not liked in the industry, that treated people like shit. We know all the stories. Those of us who've been in the industry, we know the stories. Y'all don't know the stories. So when I come out here and tell you stuff, I'm not telling you shit. I'm pulling it out my ass. So I was like trying to see if I remembered exactly what he said. So yeah, he went and made this comment. He said, actually, Nicki, I have the big, because he was doing a Trump impression. Where he said, actually, Nicki, I have the biggest ass. I have it. Everybody is saying it, Nicki. I know they say it to you, but it's me. Look at it, baby. Wop, wop, wop. And then he goes use a Cardi song. I did hear that someone said that why didn't Cardi do a Nicki Minaj bit on SNL because she performed over the week? I was like, don't get caught up in that foolishness. Don't give these people any more ammunition. Don't get them tight ass barbs, the ones that's still holding on for dear life. Like them people that almost that you know, like that plane scene in Send Help. Don't sit and hold on for dear life over a lady whose career and everything about her is going down faster than the goddamn Titanic. Don't give them people any more ammunition to come at Cardi. Cardi is winning right now. She about to go on tour. She's doing SNL, which she killed. She's out here doing her thing. She's having all kinds of success. She ain't got time to fool la la with the shenanigans and the BS. Don't get her caught up in that. Have some other girl get up there and impersonate her. But don't ask Cardi to do it. Because Cardi got bigger fish to fry. She got other things to do. She ain't out here punching the air like that old crazy bitch. And that's why I don't understand how you out here tap dancing for these daggone corrupt politicians. But you thought you was getting a seat at the table. Look, they didn't even invite her ass to perform that little festival thing or that thing that Kid Rock's doing, because it was just announced that Kid Rock is doing the Turning Point USA thing, Super Bowl thing that they got going on. I'm like, I did not tell y'all that's who they was going to get. And ain't nobody been tap dancing harder for this community than Nicki Minaj. Why you ain't ask her to headline? Because they don't care. They all think that, okay, let's grab a black person, see, and then show y'all that, see, she does agree with what we're agreeing with, because black people, apparently, according to these racists, are a monolith. So when people like Nelly and Snoop Dogg and maybe 50 Cent, I don't know, he flip-flops a lot of times. I can't tell what side of the aisle he's playing on. And people like Nicki Minaj, when they come out and say these things, they think that all black people think like they do. And it's like, see how highly they think of y'all? Because y'all thinking y'all gonna get a seat at the table with these racists? So yeah, so she decided to go in on him regarding that, and I don't think Trevor Noah is going to say anything regarding any of that anyway. So now, last but certainly not least, because I know this is a lot, child, but I knew this is going to be a long one. Let's get into the Billie Porter stuff. So Billie Porter was on a red carpet, and I think it was for the Recording Academy thing where he was, child, why he out here looking like Lord Farquaad with that wig? When he got out there, he was on the red carpet, and one of the reporters was going to ask him about Nicki Minaj, and he went and let have. I do have the clip because, you know, it's be very entertaining if I read it, but nobody brings drama or delivers drama quite like Pray Tell does. So let's get to that clip. We'll come back and we shall talk. Please hold. And this from Hollywood Unlocked. Shout out to Jason Lee and them over.
Speaking of this, we're on this topic because, you know, Nicki Minaj has been trending, you know, over her.
Fuck her. When people show you who they are, believe them the first time. And all of them. Shame. No. The answer is no. And I don't care what that means. I'm out. No. Y'all know what's right. You know, the people want their paper, right? He didn't pardon P. Diddy. Right?
Speaking of this, we're on this topic because, you know, Nicki Minaj has been trending.
Let's watch that again. That was just funny.
Fuck her. When people show you who they are, believe them the first time. And all.
It's like, man, why you gotta wait? Hold on, let me see if I can get a good shot. I was trying to see if I can get that mouth all the way open. Hold on, okay, that's a good one. I tell you, Billie, you was a mess, and she gave you all of it, like the backwash of the breath. I'm like, fuck. I'm like, ooh, and you know what they be saying about them bottom teeth. So I was like, ooh, girl, I hope the breath wasn't breathing, and that, you know, that breath don't be taking the chrome off a Chevy, cause ma'am. But all jokes aside, shout out to Billie Porter for his little read. You want to talk about reading? Let's talk about reading. But anyway, speaking of reading, Nicki Minaj attempted to read Billie Porter over what he had said about her, and this was on today. This tweet actually came out. It said, 2/2/2026. She said, George Clinton, sit your stinking ass down. And then, I mean, porta potty or whatever the fuck your name is. So that was her mid-ass read, although porta potty is kind of funny. I ain't gonna hold you. Porta potty that is funny. Cause I'm like, oh no, not porta potty. So yeah. People have a right to say their opinions and call them out, and people have a right to support who they support. But if you're on the wrong side of history, we have a right to call it out too. People always think that you can say whatever you want to say without repercussions. There's always going to be repercussions to the action and the things that you say. So it is what it is. So I say all this to say, because this was a lot, child. What do y'all think of this story? What did you think of the Grammys? What did you think of Cher having herself a mind gone bad moment? Because that was a cackle. What did you think of the performances? What did you think? Did you feel like certain people were snubbed? Oh, speaking of which, Sabrina Carpenter was snubbed. That was a gag. Because we all thought that y'all was going to try to do Bad Bunny or somebody dirty, where they would walk away with no awards or something. Or no, I'm thinking the Oscars, because I'm thinking they're going to try to do that to sinners, where y'all give them all them damn nominations and pay them dust when the night comes, and don't give them the big major categories. But yeah, Sabrina Carpenter was up for a lot of Grammys, didn't walk away with not one. So who's the man child? Man. So, with all that being said, what do you think of that? Also, what did you think of what Trevor Noah had to say about Nicki Minaj and her clapback, as well as what Billie Porter had to say about her and her clapback towards him? So all the things that I mentioned in the Grammys, I want to hear from y'all. Let me know what your thoughts are on this story in the comments down below. Ooh, child of ghetto. First of all, we got a lot of comments. I feel like y'all got, there was like damn near 60. I was like, hold on now. I gotta go up. Mm, 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 mm. Oh God, Jesus. I really gotta go. Where am I going? It was like, hold on, hold on. And I hate the fact that I can't like scroll up regular. Okay. This is where we was the last time. Seattle, we are in this time. We going, oh, yeah, that's what you're talking about. Yeah, the Super Bowl, the Seahawks. Shout out to y'all. I don't know why I was in there having them. I'm like, Seattle, what? Oh, Seattle Seahawks. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I know football. I told you, Butch Queen. Hello. I go into my Butch moment. Okay, you said my biggest takeaway from the 2026 Yeah, she was funny. I was sitting there like screaming at the TV, like, and I'm sitting there, Chris, she can't hear you. Trevor is the conscious. Yeah, that's what he was definitely giving. He was basically playing like the consciousness of America. I saw that Alicia has 18 Grammys and and Alicia ain't been putting out music lately, so she may surpass her. I love how Cher was posted up with the winners. She's fun. Yeah, and she looked like she was completely lost in the sauce. But look, she out here dating Alexander A.E. Edwards. She should be used to hanging around a bunch of, black folks. Oh yeah, I did like her dress though. Miss Thing from Blackpink won 0 Grammys. Along with Sabrina also going home empty-handed. Golden became the first Grammy-winning K-pop song. I mean, as it should. First of all, that song was so popular, and it's a good song. This is going to sound so shady, but when Addison, Cat's Eye, and Samba weren't performing during the Best New Artist performance, I changed the channel. I never heard. She performed. Well, I heard the Olivia Dean song because I saw her perform. She opened up for Sabrina Carpenter. So, and I worked that show. So I heard that song. Wait, you said they weren't performing. They performed. Addison lip sync for her life. Cat's Eye performed right after her, and Samba closed the live performance. Oh, you talking about they weren't performing as in they weren't singing live? Oh yeah, Brandy was honored. Shout out to her. First of all, I'm glad Brandy finally getting her flowers while her brother's trying to fight for his life. Lola Young, she won, and you changed the title. Oh yeah, she did win. You like or I mean they do clown the song because it feels very like what's the word? It feels like it's like one of those pandering songs. It tugs on the heartstrings, but if you don't come back with a follow up, Child, you about to hit the one hit wonder category. What a liberal city. I don't know what the fuck that means, but okay. But if you're referring to Los Angeles as a liberal city, you don't really know a lot about California because there's parts of it that's conservative and there's parts of it that is liberal, just like New York City or New York. It's funny how people just paint places with a broad brush like they know every goddamn thing. And he said, I saw that Mariah had claimed her #1 record again for most weeks at number one with All I Want for Christmas, previously held with Boys to Men, One Sweet Day, till Old Town Road beat it. Sharice is in the building. Yeah, look at Patty. She can't hear her background singers. So bring them up. Patty is a key too. I saw that Mariah has made about 60 million from that one song. Which one? All I Want for Christmas Is You? Yeah, I did catch that. I mean, it's a lot. Like, who would ever expect someone like that? But and I knew that was going to happen. I knew that they were going to, and he was going to make history with winning the AOT, like first Spanish language album. Of course, people are going to call it an agenda and all this other stuff. But here's the thing, because I totally forgot, and I'm glad I brought it up. Now I'm thinking about it. With Bad Bunny winning Art Album of the Year, right, for his album, I should have taken more photos, which, haha, very funny. Trevor Noah, you were trying to do the play on the title, and he caught it late. Benito did. Hopefully this helps push the needle in regards of more Spanish language artists like a Karol G or a Fade or a Wisin, a Yandel, or any of the others that are Spanish speaking artists can also be put up in that, category. This is just not something where y'all using Benito as a pawn to push some type of agenda. I don't feel like that's what it is, because I feel like the timing and everything and the fact that his recent album is a good record. I have never listened to an album as much as I've listened to Bad Bunny's recent album. Like, I like all his earlier stuff, but this album is so much cultural significance with a lot of like the music, the lyrics, just everything about the album is just a full circle. So his win is well deserved. I'm just wondering, like, let's not just be this, okay, look, you made history, we gave y'all a little whatever, because the industry is very good at that. Oh, we hit our quota. Let's move on to the next thing. And then it's y'all seem to forget that no, it should be a consistent thing. I'm not saying just give someone an award just because of their sexual orientation, their gender, their ethnic background, or whatever the case is. But we should be continuously rewarding music that is creative or pushes boundaries. I always knew Bad Bunny was going to win. I think we all kind of felt it. It was like I was jumping up and down out of excitement. Mm-hmm. Yes, para mi gente Latino. Look, remember when I was funny, yo, I hate you. Because I was like, wait, remember when Jennifer Lopez said that? And now you got me, and then I didn't even read the part. I was like, I was like, yes, remember when Jennifer Lopez said that? And then I was like, girl, you're not even buying it. Like, you felt real insecure saying that shit too. I was happy Gaga won for Mayhem, best pop vocal album. I didn't particularly care for I didn't care for the performance either. I mean, she gets an A for effort for trying something different. But I feel like what messed up the performance for me was the camera shots. The camera shots irritated me. I like Pharrell in that one song. Oh, I thought he was going to say You Liked Him and Happy. I also really like Tyler's performance, and he had my favorite from the night. Wait, what was your favorite? Wait, why are we saying fuck? Oh, because of the whole Kendall Jenner thing. He said, I don't like all the actors and actresses who sing badly. But I was like, who does the actors and actresses that sing badly? That's what I said. I was gonna make a joke about it too. I was gonna be like, so did they have to tell her a year in advance that she was gonna have to show up on this day? But then she wouldn't have known that D'Angelo was dying. Now she is no Natalie Cole. You said that's just her face. Chapel and Charlie both. Yeah. I mean, Chapel looked more miserable than Charlie. I wasn't really paying attention to Charlie. Charlie came out. I went right back to putting that show together. I wasn't really paying attention to her. Although I am looking forward to hearing that Wuthering Heights soundtrack. Is that out yet? Or if it is out, I guess I'm gonna have to read me because I'm like, well, damn, if it is out, I should have been listening to it. You didn't like Harry? No, I did not like that blazer. It just looked like it was a part of a woman's jacket, and then like a skirt goes with it or whatever. Like, it just looked weird. Well, I hope he prayed for his face. Okay. He said, fun little fashion fact. Bad Bunny wore the first ever menswear piece created by Schiaparelli. First of all, I actually liked his suit. I don't know, at certain parts, I'm like, it felt a little like tight on him, like he couldn't move. And I did like the what do they call that? Like the strings that was in the back, like on the spine part. I did like that look. I didn't even know. I guess look, I'm falling out. Okay. No, your mama in. I mean your mama out. She should have swallowed. I'm telling you, y'all not coming in with this ice shit because first of all, you would never say that shit to nobody's face because then you'd have no teeth. And you said it was a cool look. Young Blood says rock music was on the verge of making a comeback. I do feel like I do feel like it is because I'm noticing, if you notice, you're seeing a lot of people up there playing good live instruments and guitars and all this other stuff. And I'm wondering if a lot of this rock resurgence has anything to do with artificial intelligence really trying to infiltrate itself in the music business. So, because I feel like at the end of the day, yeah, AI, you can learn little things. And if it helps you creatively, like my thing with AI, I'm not against it. I'm all for using it as a tool to help with certain situations, but not as an overall crutch. There's always going to be people that's going to be out here that abuses whatever type of new latest gadget, whatever. I'm all for AI if it's used the right way. But if we're going to come out here and create whole pop stars or whatever, because at least they don't get sick or whatever, I'm not sitting there watching old Max Headroom hologram whatever of no performer. I'm not doing that. And then you expecting people to charge whatever, like an X amount of money. Oh, and another thing, I did like the fact that Trevor Noah brought up the fact that Bad Bunny actually made his tickets affordable so that way people could go see his residency. If that's possible that he could do that, how come all these other artists running around here be real quiet when Ticketmaster and be overcharging with these prices? Especially like some people complain they're not gonna go see Lady Gaga on the second round of her Mayhem tour when she comes back to the US because at the Garden in the 200s, the seats going for $700. And on the floor, I already told y'all that's $3,000. That's why I told y'all I'd rather work the events than pay the money because I'm not paying a month or 2 months rent to go see some artists live. But that's what they were saying. That's what the people were saying. So then that means that all you artists of a certain caliber, like the Gagas and the Sabrinas and all of y'all can bring them prices down to an affordable price. Was a rebellion message to the Christian nationalist era. It spoke to the metropolitan youth, not the small town youth. Wait, what rebellion message? Now you said now Miss Addison Rae Chop. That was embarrassing even before she started lip syncing. She knew good and well to not dance like a, wait, what is that? A box? Head up on stage and act a fool in a parking lot. Well, that's what they told her to perform. She didn't even get to go out on the stage like Cat's Eye did. They had you in the parking garage. Like, damn. I wonder what Miss Thing over there from Singapore got to say about it. Because, he be riding hard for her mid-ass. You real quiet today about Miss Addison. There are gays that still support. Of course there are. A sad bunch, the pick-me's. You know how they are. They don't love themselves enough. One scroll through Nicki's Twitter account proves she's become what Azealia Banks was. What she said about Chrissy Teigen was such a low blow. Meanwhile, Chrissy Teigen was living her best life over there at the Grammys, and you sitting at home miserable, tweeting your little fingers away, because you ain't got no friends. Those pics are BS. In 1996, there was no Rockaware. Jay was on his... Absolutely. That's why I said, like, y'all sit up there just pulling shit out y'all ass and thinking that y'all could just make stuff up. But if you know hip-hop, we knew it was all a lie. It was all a lie. Speaking of... I'm thinking Love and Hip Hop because I was thinking of Carly Red, the other K. K. Michelle said they got their ass done at not the same Red Roof Inn. Wait, what did she say that? That's funny. And you know, she ain't gonna come for K Michelle because K Michelle reads and she fight. Somebody said Cardi need to get a couple of more shoes for Nicki. Because remember when she threw her shoes at her at the Met Gala? And you said Cardi may have issues coming up with her tour. She's not used to that sort of grind. Well, she's going to have to get used to it because, ma'am, if you're going to be out here for months, and yeah, tours are tough. You got to get out there and you got to make that money. If you do your fans dirty, but I can't do it, I'm tired. Bitch, suck it up. This is the career you wanted. And so you can't do them fans dirty. So y'all can't come up there. I had a bad day and I had this. They don't care. Them people spent all that damn money to come see you live. You give them 180,000%. That's why the icons are where they are today, because they went in there and they did the job. No complaints. You ain't never gonna see Beyonce cancel, over whatever reason. She gonna give you a show. Madonna gonna give you a show, even though the bitch come out 3 hours late, and people be going home. By the time she come out at damn near 11 o'clock at night and then be finishing the show at 2 in the morning, she still come out and give you a show. So, a cover girl or what? Why's your face look like chalk? Cover girl. Billie was dragged for his Mariah. Well, him and Kesha, they both were bad. Billie's voice, I feel like, Billie could sing down when he was younger. I don't know what happened, but it's like as he got older, it's like, yeah, this is why I keep telling people, your voice ages as you get. The fuck? Child, I'm bugged. I'm like, things was falling up in here. See, I done read Billy Porter, and now the spirits in here dropping things and trying to knock me out. Anyway, but I'm gonna keep reading. When you get to be a certain age, you can't be out here trying to sing at that same register when you in your 50s as you was in your 20s, and he still be out here like trying to wail and something. Like, sir, stop. Y'all need to try to sing in the register of where your voice is, or at least try to train yourself to sing them songs and still hold up. But if you don't have the ability to sing Mariah, then don't sing it. I feel like with Mariah Carey, in other certain artists, there's very few artists that you can cover their music and do it in the way or give a cadence to what they do. I'm not saying you need to sing it exactly like them, because I always hate when they do tributes. I try to do a karaoke rendition of those songs. So I get irritated when they do stuff like that. Just sing it. Just give your own take on it. That's kind of like remember that song Mad World? When on American Idol, Adam Lambert did a version of it that I had never heard before. It was like this haunting, different. I mean, even though the song is haunting, regardless, like when you first hear it. When he came out and sang the song in his own way, I love the way he sang the song because he did it in different interpretation. I always hate when people try to do karaoke rendition. I got to sing exactly how Mariah sang. No, you're not bringing nothing new to the table in regards to that. And I get bored and I turn off. I tune out and I'm ready to change the channel. It's like you're basically giving a karaoke version, of this artist's song, and I'm just not here for it. So, but yeah, that tribute was a mess. You say, is it me or does Cher need a conservatorship, child? That's why I said I hope her mind not going bad like the moron in the White House. Because remember, they said once upon a time, Donald Trump's father also suffered from dementia and would not step down from running his businesses. So what they did was they built him a fake office, put him in there, made him think he was running things, and they were all doing the business stuff while they had him sit in his office, entertaining, I guess, the imaginary people he was having conversations with. They may have to do the same thing to this man in the White House. Why am I having a Game of Thrones moment? You said, yeah, exactly. That was our first time seeing that. That was a cackle. I never cared much for Nicki from the jump, but I questioned her Black and gay fans' judgment of character when she tried to make the VMAs into the Source Awards by trying to come for Miley Cyrus. Exactly. It's like, you picking on a little skinny-ass white girl. This is how I know your ass can't fight. Because if you really could fight, you would have thrown them bows at a Cardi B at the Met Gala. You wouldn't have had to been surrounded by security, because Cardi fight. She's like, I don't give a fuck if I'm an A-list celebrity. I'm gonna take it to the Bronx if a bitch if a bitch try me, and I gotta check her. That's how I be feeling sometimes too. It's like, yeah, I'm matured, I've grown, I've changed. But if I got a buck where you nut, that Miley was good. In her own words. Not some bass in his walk. Chris, oh no, Chris, Cher's moment was iconic. I actually got teary-eyed when Bad Bunny was shot and took it to the, yeah, because I was like, see, I missed out on the moment because I got annoyed. I was like, boy, if you don't get your ass up. So I fast forwarded a little bit. So I didn't see when he was like in his moment and crying and whatever. So I kind of fast forwarded a bit. So I didn't get to catch what everybody else did. Because at this point, it was the end. I was getting impatient. So I missed what everybody's talking about. They did that to The Color Purple. Exactly. And I said that's what I feel like they're going to do with what they're going to do with Sinners. Don't play Sinners like y'all did The Color Purple. Oh, y'all want to give the nominations and be like, that's enough. When those three weren't performing on screen. Oh, when they weren't on the stage? Oh, you said on screen. Because you didn't care about all those other artists that performed. American Idol-esque. Exactly. I just saw a post where Lux was super hyped for 2 weeks. Then it went away. Are we talking about Rosalia? Well, because you said Lux. Well, look, that album she about to go on tour, and it is critically acclaimed, and she's doing 2 nights at MSG in the summer. So, kind of like Lorde. I know a friend of mine was upset that Lorde's Virgin album was not nominated, and felt like it was album of the year material. Did like the record. I like some of the songs. I like the performance and everything. I love the tour that she just went on. I think she might be done with that. But yeah, the tour that she just did, it was a good show. But I don't know. Maybe Lorde just doesn't resonate with the mainstream like she once did. Maybe she pissed somebody off in the industry. A good Judy of mine that was rooting for the Marias to win Best New Artist posted on her close friend's story, not who the fuck is Olivia Dean. Well, you know, Google is your friend. Good Judy. How do y'all not know who? Well, look, everybody who went to that Sabrina Carpenter concert knows who Olivia Dean is because she was the opening act. I'm loving the Scream 7 TV spots. It seems Paramount rather do these 35. Well, I think they need to do that because at this point don't put out another teaser. I was going to talk about it, but I just felt like the Scream 7 thing didn't fit in with the top. You know, I always try to do topics that fits within the theme of what I'm doing with this show, and it just didn't fit. So the Scream 7 teasers and everything looks good. I know some people say, oh, they spoiled McKenna Grace's death. I'm like, who said that's how she dies? That shot could literally be just a shot from her acting in the play that they're doing, and it could just be a scene from that. There's a lot of things that you're seeing on the screen that doesn't necessarily mean that's how the person dies. But I do think that Stu is dead. A lot of people running around here thinking that Stu's alive. He's not. There's no way. Like, I still stand on that. There's no way. And if I'm wrong, I will come and apologize. I was gonna say I'd eat crow, but I had to find some crow. Number one, we'll play Sells Crow and I fry it up and eat it on this damn show. Like, remember when Wendy Williams did that on her show? I'll do the same thing. But there's no way you're gonna take a TV the size of the TVs that were back. Like, now the TVs are hella light. You can carry a 60. I was going to say you can probably carry a 60-inch by yourself. But the way the TVs that were built back in the day with the fat backs and everything, you're not surviving that falling on your face. Not in the 90s, not in 1996. Hell no. So he's dead. And a lot of times, the thing with Scream is they don't do like supernatural. They don't jump the shark with all that stuff. They're very meta in what they're doing. They do ground it a lot in reality. Sometimes they do take, you know, with the plot armor and the stabbing and stuff. Yeah, there should have been a situation where Dewey should have died and when back in the day, in the first one and the second one, the way he was stabbed up. And what's his name? Chad? He should have died the way they stabbed him up in that last one. So we can excuse that a little bit. But other than that, they don't really go like, okay, you've been dead for 30 years and all of a sudden you're back. Like, come on now. Where you been all this time? Watch Mojo. And especially with social media and everything, somebody would have known where he was at and would have spelled that out eons ago. Well, you said Watch Mojo apologized for putting Madonna in their thumbnail for worst Grammy performance. Oh, yeah, they played themselves because first of all, how many times has Madonna performed at the Grammys? Was it when the Ray of Light era when she performed Nothing Really Matters? First of all, you played yourself. You sitting up there saying that Nothing Really Matters was a horrible Grammy performance because it wasn't. Now, if you want to see worse performance on Madonna, I would say that Met Gala performance during the Madam X era. That was a hard performance because them vocals was a chop. So if we want to talk about that, then we can talk about that. But as far as the Grammys, no. Kesha doing Mimi's most auto-tune song is still doing it badly. It's almost like proving that only Mariah Carey can. Look, Mariah Carey, that's why I said at the end of the day, there's only certain people that can sing their songs. Mariah Carey is the only one that can do Mariah Carey songs. I feel like some people do their songs in a way where it fits, where it's distinctly them, where they cannot be duplicated. Even if you're doing a tribute to them, I don't feel like that any other artist to do themselves justice. Same thing with Prince. I feel like nobody could do Prince better than Prince. Michael Jackson, I don't feel like anybody could do Michael Jackson but Michael Jackson. Sidebar. Since we on Michael Jackson, did y'all see that new trailer that came out today? I'm definitely, I told her I don't particularly care for biopics, but I'm actually kind of intrigued. I want to see this Michael Jackson movie. Black Love is in the building. And also, Onyx says there was a viral tweet that said something along the lines of, remember when everyone was talking about this song for a week and never talked about it again? Look, I guess her music is memorable. Do you think that she'll get nominated for Grammys in 2027? I guess we'll have to see. Oh, that's why you were saying Dracarys. You said Billy Porter gave her Targaryen dragon breath. Okay. The popularity of going analog is a result of AI. People are learning to play instruments using digital cameras, bringing a notebook everywhere in place of a phone and collecting physical media. They're going back to all the things we used to do. It's like, yeah, bring a notebook. Why are people using a phone? I say write your ideas in a notebook and keep it around with you so that way you can resort back to those ideas instead of I got to go through my phone. I got to scroll. Like it's too much. And we rely too much on technology. And yeah, physical media seems like it's going back in style again. So I'm glad about that. Also, learning to play an instrument is a great thing. And also using, digital cameras. That's how I learned how to make, in film school, we use digital cameras. So, I'm glad that everybody's going back to the, old school stuff. See supply and demand or greed? Are you talking about like the ticket sales or whatever? It could be a bit of both. I think a lot of times they're greedy, but also I feel like if you make the tickets reasonably priced, people will buy the tickets and come support the artist. It's kind of like when I was watching this guy that does this YouTube channel. His YouTube channel is called Rock Feed, and he was talking about that, like the Grammys is changing so much. They refuse to kind of catch up with the times and everything that's going on. They wanted to keep it the old way. They didn't want to evolve and all these other things. And they said, like, when y'all getting mad, going back to Onyx and what he said about his friend, getting mad that Olivia Dean won over the Marias. The Grammys is the Grammys. Your fave is not always going to win these awards. At the end of the day, what I feel like what really shows the support is the fact of the fans. The fans, if you continue to stay loyal to your faves and you go out and you support them, you buy their merch, you go to their shows, you continue to support in that way. They come out with new music, you stream it, and you buy the physical copies if there is any, and all the things. If you go and show that and show that kind of support, that to me is a win versus, I didn't get a Grammy. Okay, but that's not why I do this. It's what I've been saying about pretentious ass Timothy Chalamet, where it seems like all he cares about is his goddamn Oscar. I'm like, is that all you in this whole industry for? I thought it was Olivia Dean that got the. I remember she complained about this whole thing regarding like tickets, ticket prices and Ticketmaster, and it was a whole drama thing. So I remember she was talking about it. I don't know what happened beyond that, but I do remember she brought it up, and I'm glad you knew what I was talking about. You said Miss Thing from Singapore changed the title of her video about Addison Rae to shade Olivia Dean. The Grammys got Best New Artist wrong. No, tired ass bitch, don't go sit her slanted eye ass down somewhere and go play in traffic. Like, girl, please. To my son, they got the Best New Artist wrong. It hadn't even been 6 hours since she won that he changed it. I hope people are calling his tired ass out in them damn comments. Someone said Billie sounded like a drunk uncle. He probably was on that stuff. Who knows? Some people believe Wendy eating crow on national TV is what made her. Oh well, damn! I ain't eating that crow then. If that's gonna make your mind go bad, oh hell no! Y'all just gonna have to take. And I'm sorry as enough. Maybe I'll eat some meat and make some chicken, put it on a plate, and tell y'all it's crow. They say everything else tastes like chicken, right? Miss Mojo was going to do Feel Good Inc. and Hung Up, but that slayed. Well, first of all, Hung Up was a good. Oh yeah, she did perform that at the Grammy too. I totally forgot. Hung Up, yes, Hung Up was good. You can't throw shade at that performance. And that's before she went out on the tour, I think, right? Adele holds the record for most wins in the Grammy category for Best Female Pop Vocal Performance. Latest Best Pop Vocal Performance, securing 4 wins. I think Rosalia will get nominated for a Grammy, but will she win? This also shows the people's attention span is drastically declining. Oh, it is, because I just read a story that's talking about that. Since we talking about people going back to old school stuff, they was talking about that's becoming harder for people in film school to concentrate, because apparently they can't sit through certain movies and things. Because when I went to film school, I had to sit and watch Citizen Kane. I had to watch all of that. And trust to believe, even though that was like 10 years ago when I was in college. No, actually, my bad. It was 15 years ago. 15 years ago, I was in college. When I went to film school, the crazy thing about that was that I had to sit through movies that I was like, okay, this movie is old before. And I love classic films because, like, my generation, we grew up on, like, millennials. That's what we all grew up on old movies, because like that video I showed you on the last episode we did, where it was like, yeah, a lot of us were raised up in that because we were raised on cable. And when you have cable, they had to fill up a lot of those slots, so they put a lot of old films and stuff in those slots. And that's kind of like how we were raised. This new generation were raised in an era of like TikTok and things on social media and all that other stuff, so they like these micro things. And it's like, if you're trying to make films, you have to understand the whole aspect of making movies and things of that nature. So you're going to have to sit through an Alfred Hitchcock movie, or you're going to have to sit through a Francois Truffaut movie, which I had to sit through those films when I was in film school. I had to sit through a lot of movies that I wasn't familiar with when I was growing up that I didn't watch. And yeah, a lot of those movies, Citizen Kane, I feel like, and this might be blasphemous to say, the movie is overrated and it's boring, but it's a classic, and I had to sit through it. So if we had to sit through those films, I don't know what they showing y'all in film school today, but you got to sit through it, and you got to learn to develop an attention span. Because if I had to sit through them shits and I had to go through all of the mess, you got to go through it too. Y'all can't just think, oh, I can just make a movie and I'm just going to film stuff and stitch it together and that just be it. No, it's not. That's why I'm glad I grew up in the time in which I grew up in, because nothing is a moment. It's so much going on. It's like you're playing catch up. You're trying to play catch up with a lot of stuff. It's like, even with this current administration, they throw so much at you, and I be trying to catch up on what's the latest craziness that's going on. And then if I don't catch it within 24 hours, it's on to the next thing. And I'm like, well, I don't care about this stuff anymore because now it's old. So it's that thing. Speaking of which, the moment by Charlie XCX is definitely not a moment. Looks like because I didn't bring that up on the show. It got panned at Sundance. It was not getting the greatest reviews. You know what I want to do? I'm gonna try to see if I can do that next year, because I didn't even know you could do this. I thought you could only do it for like oh my god, I totally forgot what the queer film festival was, because I know there's certain film festivals where you could buy a pass and you can actually watch all the movies that are up for that are being shown. You can watch it in your house. So I know, like, somebody paid $850 to watch all the Sundance movies that were up at home. I wanted to, like, if I can't get my ass to Utah, I would like to do that. I would like to spend, I don't know if I would spend 800 something on that, but I would get one of those passes and sit and try to catch up on all the movies, because all those movies that go through Sundance, not all of them are going to get distribution. So I would like to actually be there to see, like, oh, I saw this movie this amount of time ago and it was good. No, she won't. And that's what she really mad about. Talking about rituals and shit. I said, bitch, you wouldn't have said that if you actually won a Grammy. And you said most quality made films hold up to the test of time. Mm-hmm. And you said many strong directors miss an artistic Look, there's a lot of great directors who haven't won anything, so it is what it is. But child, let's get back into the show because we had a lot of comments, and we'll get to more of the comments right after we talk about our next topic, which is Don Lemon. So let's get into her. So Don Lemon, I'm sure as y'all all probably heard by now, had himself caught up in handcuffs this past weekend where they arrested him over in LA in the middle of the night. I think he was out there because he was going to the Grammys and that sort of thing. So yeah, but he was at the Grammys. He was on the red carpet with his husband. And so yeah, he was arrested for no damn reason and ended up speaking out in regards to the situation. I don't know if I had all the people who I was like, did I have I think because it wasn't just him, it was a bunch of other people that was arrested as well. So I don't want to just bring him up and not mention them, but I had to make sure I had everything in here. Okay, so we good. So now a judge on Friday ordered Don Lemon to be released on his own recognizance after he was indicted on charges of interfering with a religious service during an ICE protest in Minnesota, which we all know was some BS. What he was doing was he was talking to the pastor, and the pastor, who we all found out was working with ICE and that sort of thing, he was mad because his cover was blown. So that's what the real gag was. Now, speaking outside the courthouse in downtown LA, Lemon said that he will not be deterred from his work as an independent journalist. He said, I have spent my entire career covering the news. I will not stop now. I will not stop ever. Last night, the DOJ sent a team of federal agents to arrest me in the middle of the night for something that I've been doing for the last 30 years, and that is covering the news. The First Amendment of the Constitution protects me and countless other journalists who do what I do. I stand with all of them, and I will not be silenced. I look forward to my day in court, which we all know that's going to be thrown out because they don't have anything to hold this man on in to begin with. What they're trying to do is they're trying to see if they can go and surpass and violate all of our rights as Americans to throw you in jail and scare you into silence. Whether you're a journalist or you're a regular person, this is what they're trying to do. And so they're always trying to see how far they can push it and be like, well, what you gonna do? And then when you push back against the bully, which I always say that's the way you handle a bully, you got to push back. You can't just be like, oh, I'm so appalled with all the things that's going on and what's happening in America. I can't believe it. Because, this is what all the Democrats is doing right now, writing strongly worded letters. And, oh my gosh, I'm so appalled. Why is all of this? I can't believe all this. I was like, I need to do more than that. Like, you sit up here acting shocked and outraged and put on your best Taylor Swift, I'm shocked look. That's not enough to ease the American people. And look, fascism has gone on since before speech replaced sign language in other countries. We've never experienced all the things that other third world countries are experiencing right now, and how this current president wants to run America like a dictatorship. We've never experienced stuff like this, but just know that, you know what? We gotta stay on top of the surfboard. Those crazy waves are gonna come in. We just gotta stay on balance, and we gotta know that we can ride the wave and we can get through this. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. So I refuse to believe that we are all gonna that all of this dark time this dark dystopian time that we're in currently is going to be forever. Because I don't believe that that's what's gonna happen. So and I'm glad that he's talking about independent journalists, because remember, once upon a time, I was not particularly a fan of Don Lemon because he was over there at CNN and you over there cucking for them damn corporate people. And then when he started coming out, and I guess maybe he took the red pill and decided to unplug from the Matrix and started seeing, the real world for what it was. And when he started questioning things, he started saying things, and CNN didn't want his ass no more. And then he went independent. And once he went independent, then he started really telling y'all the real stuff. So when you're a part of a company, when you're part of a business, when you got them corporate oligarchs telling you what you can do and writing your check, you got to basically spew whatever talking points that they put in that teleprompter. You can't go against it because you didn't just read whatever's being, regurgitate what is being spoon fed to you by them higher ups. When you're independent, you your own boss. And he's realizing that he has been able to reach far more people in the YouTube space than he was over there at tight-ass CNN. Him and Joy Reid, welcome to the club. I'm glad to see y'all finally come over to the other side with the rest of us. So now Judge Patricia Donahue rejected the government's request to order a $100,000 bond. I was like, who paying for it? Because the damn show would have been coming out of my pocket, meaning if I was Don Lemon, I would not be paying that because what you holding me on? You don't have no reason to hold me. I'm doing my job. You holding people for doing their job now? Like, fuck out of here. And then they said they also denied a request to limit his travel to New York and Minnesota, where he lives in New York. Lemon wore a cream-colored suit. He spoke briefly, affirming that he had read and understood the charges against him. Alexander Robbins, the assistant U.S. attorney, argued that the restrictions were needed because Lemon posed a threat to the community. Yeah, okay, why? Because he's black? And not only that, because that's all y'all arrested, by the way. He wasn't the only black person that got arrested. We'll get into who else in a second. The defendant knowingly joined a mob to storm into a church and terrorize people engaged in worship services. Well, the church is a public place. It's open to the public. When did churches become off limits for protesting? There's always been protests. If you ever remember back in the days of ACT UP and the AIDS Holocaust, there was a lion, or what was it, a lion dying, something another, where LGBTQIA plus people and allies will lay down on the ground in the church during the service as a die-in. You've seen it in polls, you've seen it in documentaries, you've seen it all those things. And yeah, they were arrested, but they was in there protesting. So you can't sit up here and say that, oh, y'all are exempt, because you're not. First of all, y'all need to be paying some goddamn taxes. That's another thing that I don't like about this country, is the fact that they're tax exempt. Like, for what? So anybody can create a church, which many of y'all which many of you have, so that way y'all can curtail around those tax exempts. So Lemon's attorney, Marilyn Bednarski, argued that Lemon has no history of violence and does not pose a risk of flight. She asked that he be allowed to take a vacation in France this summer, but otherwise agreed to restrictions on his international level. Child, to get this out of the way, save the France trip for 2027. I know you want to go on your little vacation with your husband and live your best life eating, whatever it is they eat over in France, and drink the fanciest wines, and I guess see a lot of fashion and museums and all the things that the tourists do. But if you need to deal with this or whatever the case is, say that France trip for 2027. So they said he is committed to fighting this. Now, LA Mayor Karen Bass attended the brief hearing. Lemon was ordered to make his next appearance in court in Minneapolis on February 9th. The former CNN anchor, who is now an independent journalist, was taken into custody by 2 federal agents in LA on Thursday night. According to his attorney, Abby Lowell, Lemon was in LA to cover the Grammys on Sunday. His arrest comes after the Trump administration's Justice Department sought to charge him with a civil rights violation in connection with his attendance at a January 18th anti-ICE protest inside a church in St. Paul, Minnesota. Lemon live-streamed coverage from the Minnesota protest and has said that he is simply reporting on it. Georgia Fort, another independent journalist who covered the protest, has also been arrested, where it was I think it was like in the wee hours of the morning, while her and her family and everybody was sleeping in the house. They came and just bum rushed her to the ground. I'm like, so this is what we're doing in 2026? Y'all just throwing women around like rag dolls and just being abusive? These men just really am up to the sense that ICE hates women. But I guess, all those women that, those women beaters that they are for their wives and stuff, the wives are probably relieved if the husbands ain't home for now. So they wind up unemployed, and y'all will be unemployed. So now they said that Donna's been, wait, because I was going to say, was there anyone else where, okay. Yeah. Okay. So they said Donna's been a journalist for 30 years and his constitutionally protected work in Minneapolis was no different than what he has always done. This is what his lawyer said in a statement. The First Amendment exists to protect journalists whose role is to shine light on the truth and hold those in power accountable. There is no more important time for people like Dawn to be doing this work. U.S. Attorney General, this bitch, Pam Bondi, confirmed that Lemon was arrested in addition to 3 other individuals over the Minnesota protests. At my direction, early this morning, federal agents arrested Don Lemon, Traherne Jean Cruz, Georgia Fort, and Jamel Liddell Lundy in connection with the coordinated attack on City's Church in St. Paul, Minnesota. So yeah, just because you write it on X or Twitter doesn't make it true, because we all know who runs that. the one that wanted to be invited to one of the most craziest of parties at Epstein Island, apartheid Clyde, because he did say that. That was also revealed in the Epstein files. Now, they said the White House also mocked Lemon's arrest on Twitter, writing, "When life gives you lemon," alongside a graphic announcing news of Israel. Oh, that's the best y'all can come. Y'all are so corny over there. Now, Lemon's former employer, CNN, also spoke, which surprised me because I'm like, y'all fired him, where it's like y'all had to pay him his $25 million severance, but y'all had something to say about it? Okay, CNN. I side-eye them, but that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother day. So now they said the FBI arrest of our former CNN colleague Don Lemon raises profoundly concerning questions about press freedom and the First Amendment. The Department of Justice already failed twice to get an arrest warrant for Don and several other journalists in Minnesota, where a chief judge of the Minnesota Federal District Court found there was no evidence that there was any criminal behavior involved in their work. The First Amendment in the United States protects journalists who bear witness to news and events as they unfold, ensuring they can report freely in the public interest, and the DOJ's attempts to violate those rights is unacceptable. We will be following this case closely. In 2023, as y'all know, Lemon was fired from CNN after allegations of inappropriate behavior towards women at the network. He then had a brief deal with Elon Musk to produce independent content for Twitter, which fell apart within months before starting his own program, The Don Lemon Show, which you can currently watch on YouTube. So I'm glad that, with all of this is definitely a sign that if they can come after Don, they can come after anybody. They can come after me for speaking out on, like, trying to tell people the truth of what's going on in the world. And I don't even have an iota of the amount of followers, but I have almost 4,000 people that have subscribed to the channel. So that's a significant amount. So anybody that's really getting the message out there, we could all be in danger. I saw the View ladies talked about it this morning, said that if they come after Dawn, they can come after them too. And it's like, so where does it stop? And when does, we have the government and things that stands in place that'll come up, not the current government, because the current government, we already know where y'all stand on a lot of stuff and who y'all sit up under. But what about the opposing team? Where are the progressive Democrats? Where are the, don't even get me started on Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer lame asses, because y'all are a lost cause at this point. I don't expect y'all to do anything. And so where are the people that's out here that y'all trying to win these midterms? Where y'all at? Why y'all not speaking up? Why y'all not fighting for the people? Instead of just sitting in little ivory towers watching as the world burns around you. So, I just feel like at the end of the day, if this regime felt that everything they were doing was for the greater good of the country, if everything they were doing were correct, if everything they were doing was good and justified, I feel like you would need to take a page out of a fascist handbook and arrest independent journalists as a way to stoke fear into not only the rest of the journalism community, but also the American people. So, I also pointed this out earlier, that it's funny how y'all arrested people that were all Black. Because in addition to Don Lemon getting arrested, who's an independent journalist, Miss Fort is an Emmy Award-winning Twin Cities journalist. Traherne Jean Cruz is a Black Lives Matter activist. Jamel Lydell Lundy is a lobbyist for the Hennepin County Attorney's Office, and is it because I had to get everybody's titles correct? That's why I had to write it down. And he's at the Hennepin County Attorney's Office and is a Democratic farmer labor candidate for state senate. That's a mouthful. So, and then we see what you're doing, and as long as we have a piece of democracy left, a little piece. It ain't a lot of pieces, a little piece. As long as we got a little piece of it left, we have to make sure that we got to trust in our independent media, protect them at all costs, since you can't rely on corporate-owned journalists who, at this point, are refusing to tell the American people the truth about what's happening. And to me, I feel like y'all are the idiots. Well, life gives you lemons. And so that was cute for a moment. But what you've done is you shine light on Don Lemon, people who really weren't paying attention to him like that, former CNN journalist who decides to go independent, and y'all arrest him. What you've done was you probably added more to his subscription. Shout out to Don. I want to know how many people did subscribe to his channel, because I believe he's got over 1 million subscribers at this point. But I would love to know like how many people went over there and subscribed to Don since, this whole situation happened. Because I'm sure he gained a lot more fans from what had happened. Excuse me, I haven't checked out his show to see like if he spoke about like everything that went down. I haven't been able to watch it because as I told y'all earlier, I was catching up on the Grammys and all this other stuff while I was putting today's show together. So I really haven't been able to catch up with what's going on in entertainment news and pop culture. But one thing I do want to get to before we're done is because we talked about Don Lemon. So now let's get into Jane Fonda, who came to Don's defense. So Jane Fonda basically said they arrested the wrong Don. So on Friday, she spoke out in support of Don Lemon at a rally in LA after the former CNN anchor was arrested and indicted on charges of interfering with a religious service during a Minnesota ICE protest. She said, "We are not ready to sit and be quiet. We have to speak up." This is what she said via TMZ. "Every American who believes in our Constitution has to speak up. Don Lemon is a professional journalist. He and his producer were doing their job. Nothing more, nothing less. And he's been arrested. And they'll make up all kinds of defamatory things to say about him. That's what they're doing. That's how autocrats act. We can't fall for it. We have to speak up. When a red line is crossed like this, we cannot be silent." She also went on and added, "I know Don Lemon. My husband created CNN, and I will fight for their right to speak, which is guaranteed in our Constitution. They arrested the wrong Don." Totally forgot that Jane Fonda was married to the man that created CNN 1,000 years ago. So shout out to her. And here's the thing about Jane Fonda. If y'all think her activism is performative, then you really don't know her, because Miss Mamas was out there getting arrested and protesting against the atrocities of the world long before I was even born. So shout out to Dawn, shout out to Jane, shout out to all the people out here who are fighting the good fight against, catastocracy, autocracy, fascism, and trying to hold up what's left of our democracy. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? In regards of Don Lemon getting arrested and the stunts and shows of this idiotic administration is political. That was the word I was going to use. I was going to use that R word. But I was like, let me clean it up. That this idiotic administration is doing and trying to silence people and not speak up against the atrocities of what's going on in the United States. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Wait, hold on, because I missed one. Many strong directors, but oh yeah, I read that one. He said, "Funny, I saw someone ask, yeah, she won none." That's why I said like, she has to win 34 Grammys in order to beat Beyonce, and I'm like, she has no Grammy. Like nobody got the joke unless you really pay attention. The Grammys topic took 1 hour and 13 minutes. Not to even count, chat. Oh my god! And I was thinking, I was like, do I edit? Do I do a whole thing and just edit that into all? Hey, that's gonna be a video. That's gonna be a long ass video within itself. Yeah, it was a lot. When you talking about the Grammys, it's a lot to cover. Maya announces her first album in 8 years. It's what fans want, a classic 70s funk type album, making Maya. So, well, I love me some Maya. So, I'm definitely looking forward to any new music she's put out. I told you I know her manager. So, it said like he told, wait, what? Like he told, "Thank you for CNN for your support, but stop. You're making it evil." Yeah, I agree with him, because it's like, why is corporate media like CNN jumping into the conversation? Y'all are pretty much normalizing a lot of the crap that this administration is doing. When you give morons, smug assholes like Scott Jennings a platform because his idiocy breeds ratings, you are a part of the problem. So if you're talking about Don, you can go first. Talking about some damn send that moron to hell ASAP. What if they actually find him guilty? Well, you know how they do, especially when it comes to Black people. DHS arrested her, not ICE. Yes, ICE is a part of Yes, ICE is a part of DHS. All ICE is a part of DHS, but not all of DHS. Okay. That has got to be the craziest thing. It's like DHS arrested her, not ICE. ICE is a part of DHS. All of ICE is a part of DHS, but not all of what? I'm trying. My brain hurt even trying to decipher that. I mean, while I understand what you're saying by compartmentalizing and trying to make it make sense with how they're saying it, all of it, it's ridiculous. It's basically if DHS and ICE is one and the same, they should be including one and the same and not having to, But we know how these people do. As I stated, 1.5. Oh, somebody went and did the math. 1.15 million and 1 million paid subscribers. Well, yeah, he definitely getting that money. And I'm wondering also, I think he has sponsors, so he gets money from that too. Legacy media are scared to report because they don't want to go to jail or they're fearing prison. But I'm like, you're paid. Oh, you over there a paid subscriber to Don Lemon? Shout out to you. Well, I'm glad. When I was like, yeah, they're afraid to do it. But I'm like, first of all, you didn't get into journalism just to sit and eat bonbons and think that everything was just going to be copacetic. It's like, if you really want to fight for what's going on in the world, you need to speak out. You need to speak up. And if that's not what you want to do, then maybe you need to find you a new job. So that's why I shout out to the real people out here like the Joy Reids and the Don Lemons who left corporate media and have gone independent. And the good thing is you've been able to build enough of an audience that you can go off and and that's always the good thing about people like a Don Lemon or like with me, you know how long it took me to build my fan base? Like it took years for me to get to where I am now, building it from the ground up without having to fork over money to fake algorithms and fake all this stuff. Like I'm trying to do it in the authentic way. And yes, that road takes that's a long ass road to travel on. And I'm appreciative of it. But I want my coins to go up a little bit more. I mean, Google, you pay well with the YouTube channel, but I want a little more cointada in this situation. But anyway, so the good thing is when you come from a place like CNN or MSNBC that you can be like, fuck y'all hoes. I'm going to go over here and go solo. I'm going to do my own thing. And you could take those fan base with you and go over and start your own channel. And you could start off you could blow up pretty fast with that. Like, once you start the channel, you can have like thousands of people watching your channel or millions of people will subscribe. So, TV definitely helps. Recipes. Oh yeah, I forgot to bring Catherine O'Hara because we did. So I posted all over the social medias. But yeah, I was shocked over the weekend when I found out Catherine O'Hara passed. I know a lot of people bring her up about Schitt's Creek and Beetlejuice. But as y'all know, as I mentioned on this show, my favorite film that Catherine O'Hara in was Home Alone because when I was a kid, I wanted to be Kevin McAllister. So, Home Alone was one of my all-time favorite movies growing up as a kid. And seeing the fact that Catherine O'Hara, with all the drama that was going on with Kevin in that movie and everybody was hating on him and all this other stuff. And he was even going back and forth with the mother and all this other stuff that when they realized they left Kevin at home, she went all the way back home to try to get her son, even though the whole family went on their little trip. Where'd they go, to France? So Catherine O'Hara was like a great actress. And yeah, the last thing I saw her in was the last season, even though I didn't particularly care for it, The Last of Us. So yeah, shout out to her. But then I saw these pictures of her. They showed her months ago before she passed. They said she was looking gaunt. And yeah, those pictures, she was not looking the greatest. She looked like she was pretty sick. So I'm sure eventually when they're ready to tell us, I almost dropped my mic. We'll find out what exactly it was that she passed away from. The administration is also mad that there's not a lot of protesters that are Black out there. Probably because Black people have been saying over the years, we've been through this. We know what this country's about. We know what the foundation of this country has been built on. And when we were talking about Black Lives Matter and so many other things, a lot of your white folks didn't give a damn. So now that they're pow-powing white folks in broad daylight and in 4K, they're killing women, they're killing all the other people that aren't Black. Now y'all give a fuck, and now y'all want us to come over here and fight with y'all. And they're like, no, y'all can have that. We've been trying to tell you. We've been trying to tell y'all for years. We've been trying to tell, not years, decades. We've been trying to tell y'all how this country is, what this country is truly about, what the foundation of this country was built on, and how a lot of the government and also the law enforcement, how they treat people of color. So when we've been trying to tell y'all didn't want to hear it. So now you got to just roll with what we've been trying to tell y'all. So you got to learn on your own. And so that's probably why there's not a lot of Black protesters, because of that reason. My favorite film Catherine was in will always be The Nightmare Before Christmas. Oh, I forgot about that. She has done a lot of Tim Burton stuff as a voice actress, but still perfect nonetheless. I remember seeing Home Alone in the theater. Shit, you and me both. We both seen it in the theater. So I was like, There was a lot of great movies I got to see in the theater. I got to see that. I got to see Jurassic Park, which was ruined because there was this man that kept screaming at the screen at Joseph Mazzello's character because he kept making stupid decisions. Run, you stupid kid. Move it, stupid. Like, kept calling the kid stupid. I'm like, damn, look, he only doing what Steven Spielberg and them. Well, who wrote the script? David Kep. He only doing what David Kep told him in the script. You getting mad at him. But I was up in there scared out my mind watching, as a little kid, watching Jurassic Park on that screen. Anyway. All right, y'all. So let's get back into the rest of the show. I was like, yeah, that was crazy that Grammy segment went on for over an hour. I'm like, look, it was a lot to cover. There's a lot that went on. Even though it didn't feel like a lot went on. All right, now speaking of Cardi B, since we talked about her earlier, I guess we have some good news, a good congratulations for Ms. Belcalis, because a judge has imposed a $1,500 fine on a trial lawyer in the civil lawsuit filed against Cardi B after determining that a barred question was intentionally raised during the ceremony. So they went and asked her, basically they asked her a question. They weren't supposed to ask her a question. And they ended up getting a fine for it. I hope you got that $1,500 in the bank. So 4 months after LA County judge ruled that Cardi B was not liable for assault and battery against former security guard Imani Ellis, a judge has issued a fine to Ellis's attorney for improperly asking the rapper about possible gang affiliations. Because, a lot of people think she a blood with the whole Barty thing and all that other stuff. So, according to court documents obtained by Rolling Stone, Los Angeles County Judge Ian C. Fusselman wrote on Wednesday, January 28th, January 28th decision that Ellis's lawyer, Ron A. Rosen how many goddamn names this person got? Ron A. Rosen Jeffanza violated a court order by asking about Cardi's personal history. Before the August 2025 trial began, Fusselman ordered attorneys not to ask the rapper, see, now they're going to have me say her name again, born Belcalis Almanzar, about so-called prior bad acts, including exotic dancing. That's a bad act. We love the scrippers up in here. An alleged former association with the gang or gang members during her youth, as they could confuse the jury and result in an undue waste of time that would be unduly prejudicial. However, one of the first questions Jeffanza asked Cardi on August 26 was, do you have any affiliation at this time with a gang? When your dumbass was told not to ask it, the rapper's attorneys quickly objected, and the judge reminded Jeffanza about the clear violation of the court's ruling according to the decision. Jeffanza was hit with a $1,500 fine for asking the question, adding, according to the outlet, he has until February 27 to pay. Oh, look, you got until when Scream 7 come out, and must self-report the sanctions under the California State Bar within 30 days. Does that mean he gonna get disbarred or whatever if he don't pay it? I wonder what happens with that if he don't pay it, or they're gonna hold you in contempt and throw you in jail. Now, on my birthday, which was September 2nd, 2025, The jury found that Cardi was not liable after Ellis claimed that the Grammy winner had assaulted her by scratching her with an acrylic fingernail outside of the Beverly Hills medical office on February 2018. Wait, can you actually pull skin off or whatever, or scratch somebody with an acrylic nail? I don't know how them nails work. I'm not a woman, so I don't know how the whole acrylics thing works. But she do sharpen them though, where they look like claws. Now, Cardi's attorneys asked soon after the Jafanza be held in contempt for the gang question, as well as referencing evidence that was not introduced during the trial in his closing argument. Jafanza then claimed that his office manager had drafted his questions for Cardi. He was sleep deprived. Child, please. I mean, if you're your lawyer or doctor, it goes without saying that you're going to lack sleep. So that was your excuse? He said he was deep deprived during the court proceedings and that the phrase "at this time" made the question relevant, saying, quote, "The court is not persuaded by any of these arguments," Judge Fusselman wrote. According to Billboard, it is clear that Mr. Jafanza was aware of the prior ruling and that the question was specifically drafted in an attempt to avoid directly violating the latter, but not the clear intent or of the court's ruling. It was a knowing and intentional violation of the court's ruling. Now, Ellis first sued Cardi in 2020, but the rapper, who at the time of the incident was pregnant with her first child, has repeatedly denied the assault allegations. Cardi admitted that she was involved in a verbal altercation with Ellis, whom she claimed was invading her privacy. Is that the name of her debut album? Invasion of Privacy? By video recording before an OBGYN appointment. And I do agree with that. My thing is, if you're in a public place, isn't that a violation of a HIPAA law? If you're in a public place, like say if you're at Madison Square Garden, you're a guest there and you're hanging out and want to see a concert, or you're in Celebrity Row at, for the Knicks game. It's all, you can take pictures or whatever the case is. Not me, I'm working. I can't take pictures. But if you're in a damn doctor's office and I'm about to have them look all up in my coochie, why are you trying to get a photo or whatever? No, that is not allowed. First of all, people shouldn't even be knowing I'm coming. Like, this is the doctor's office that I'm coming to get a checkup or whatever the case is. And you sit up here trying to snap a photo or video or do whatever. It's like, are you dumb? But a lot of people, they just be, oh, I never seen no celebrity before. This will be the first and last time. Okay, well, my thing is that's what the thing with me. When I'm around celebrities, y'all just go ahead and take my word for it that I've encountered these people, that I've had conversations with their family members, mothers, cousins, sisters, wives, whatever, or the celebrity themselves, and call it a day. I can't be up in here just like, can I get a photo? I've been having a windmill on some of the people be like, no, y'all need to go up. Like, they be trying to come down in certain areas they didn't have access to just so they can get a little photo moment. Or one I had to read at the boxing match that I worked at, because there's this guy, I don't know who he is, but he was a good looking, looked Spanish, was doing commentating. And people trying to come down being like, can I go and bother him? I said, he's working. You cannot come down and bother, because I'm in my set where I was for the boxing thing that happened, the one that just aired on pay-per-view, Shakur versus, Teofimo. When I was working that fight, it was like, I'm in the media section. So I'm like having to keep people from coming down wanting to take photos with somebody. And I was like, no, you cannot bother these people. They're in the middle of working. And you can't come over there and be like, can I get a photo or whatever the case is? Like, no, you can wait till the show's over and ask them. But it's like, no. Or if a boxer happens to be in my section because they were getting interviewed, like other boxers or whatever, past, present, whatever, coming up and down, whatever the case. If they going up the steps, you want to get a photo, whatever, go ahead and you do that. But no, you're not coming down here and messing up a situation. So I'm like literally having to fend people off from all these other. So it's a crazy job, but I love what I do outside of this show. So I totally get it. But it's like, if you're doing a doctor, like if you're going to a doctor's appointment and saying, no, you don't be out in here taking pictures and videos and shit. Like, I don't care who it is. Like, this is a moment where they're supposed to be, it's a private situation. So, I said, while Cardi said the two got into a verbal argument, she denied that she assaulted Ellis. She explained that at the time she had a high level of concern. Jafanza asked Cardi why she was concerned during the altercation. She said, because I'm pregnant and this girl's about to F and beat my ass. Hello. But she said that Cardi cut her face with a fingernail and spat on her while yelling profanity and racial slurs. Now, during the trial, many of Cardi's impassioned exchanges with the Jafonza went viral due to her unfiltered expletive face response. Oh, yeah, those were funny. The eye rolls, the shrugs, and remember when she did that too? That was funny. So, at one moment, they said she grabbed lots of attention when Jafonza was notably confused due to a wig swap from Cardi on August 26th. He said, yesterday you had black hair, short hair. Today it's blonde and long. Which one is your real hair, or are they both real? After rolling her eyes and laughing, Cardi said they're wigs before Jafonza responded, sorry, I didn't know that. It's a good wig day. I mean, she said, it's a good wig today then. I'm like, are you slow? Like, how do you think that women are consistent with their hair? No, especially if you're a woman of color. The wigs don't be always the same. They gotta come in with, especially if you're a celebrity, like they always coming in with a whole new look and a different. So today you had a short wig, yesterday you had a long. I'm like, what are you? I'm done. So, the same day he fielded Cardi questions about legal terms that she wasn't familiar with. At one point, he asked her, "When I'm talking to you now, are we having a verbal altercation?" So she responded by saying, "We're having, I'll say, a debate." Which drew a laugh from the crowd in the courtroom. And it's like, yeah, we having a debate. We're debating. Which that was kind of funny that she get. See, that's the one thing I like about Cardi. Cardi is one of those quick-witted. She got the quick clap back. Unlike her nemesis, who whenever she get to a podium, she'll never have nothing of interest or can't even formulate words to create a sentence. Now, after the judge shared the jury's verdict, Cardi spoke to reporters outside the courthouse saying, I did not touch that woman. But that being said, this time around, I'm going to be nice. The next time someone tries to do a frivolous lawsuit against me, I'm going to countersue. I'm going to make you pay because this is not okay. So, yeah, there's always going to be a situation that some people out here, they initiate stuff. And then when you retaliate, and I'm not saying in a physical way, you retaliate, like you curse them out or whatever, they get, oh, they assaulted me. And then they want to follow a damn lawsuit because they want to get a payday. This is why it's good to have phones and all this other stuff out here because you never know when these people be out here trying you. So shout out to Cardi. Look like she got a win on her end. But ma'am, I need you to stay out of trouble and just focus on this tour and all this other stuff. But I understand this is 4 months after the verdict was done. This is September. Now we in February. Well, actually, it's technically 5 months because today is February 2nd. The case was brought to a head September 2nd. So technically it's 5 months in. She's been found, that payment is due. So when it happened, it was 4 months. But y'all get the gist. So as I was saying, what do you guys think of this story regarding the latest on Cardi B? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. Catherine was in Xmas commercials with Kevin Hart, and I must have missed those because I told you I don't be watching ads and stuff. So I may have to check that. I didn't see that one. Friday the 13th through the 18th in March. Wait, what? So they got the original Friday the 13th coming to theaters in March, as I guess what you're trying to say. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 is coming back. Oh, yeah, I did hear about that. TMNT, Secret of the Ooze. Does that mean I got to hear that Go Ninjas, that ninja rap song from Vanilla Ice? That he actually sang at the White House or for Trump or whatever. I think it was at the Christmas party or something or another. So yeah, they said tickets on sale soon for a 4K screening of the 1991 sequel. Look, I'm just waiting for the 9th to come so I can get my tickets to go see Scream. Because I just realized the 27th when that comes out is the day I'm actually off. So I'm gonna go early in the morning, avoid all the spoilers at night because I have to work the night before. So I'm gonna avoid all the spoilers because I was gonna see if I get out because I'm working a Rangers game the day before. I'm like, when I'm done with that one, would I be able to find a screening that I could watch it? But I think that there's not gonna be any movies that start at 11 o'clock at night. So or 10:30 or whatever. So I'm probably gonna miss out on it. So the only one I'm gonna be able to see is that Friday. And then I'm gonna see Scream. And then I'm gonna come back and get my review, non-spoiler, because I want people to see it so they'll know I don't want to spoil who the killers and all that other stuff are. If there's more than one or just one. So I already got it planned out. Then I'm gonna go see Scream on the 27th, and then I'm gonna come and do a show right afterwards. Okay. All right, y'all. So now we down to our final four topics. So before we get to our final four topics of the evening, if you could please do me a solid, if you have not done it yet, hit that like button, smash the notification bell, hit the subscribe, do the what's the other thing that they allow on here now? Share, do all the things, become a member, do all the things to help with this show. Please and thank you. Now, without further ado, let's get into some OF news. So apparently all those oppressed people out in Texas, they're in Texas, out there making a lot of money for the OF. So apparently, y'all know I guess it's illegal for y'all to be watching some of that adult cinematography. Well, they said that they pulled in a lot of money. I said, y'all a bunch of damn snitches. So now you think they're going to try? Well, I don't know how you're going to be able to prevent people from watching adult stuff. I mean, if you know a good VPN, you can get around all of that. But that's why I always say this government has yet to catch up with technology. So OF makes a lot of money, but apparently it made some serious bank last year thanks to the residents of Texas. According to newly released data by Only Guider, residents of the Lone Star State spent a whopping 248 million. Wait, did I say million? Oh yeah. Hold on, am I reading this wrong? Wait, I am reading right. So it's 248 million basically on OnlyFans, but it said 496,363.64. Why all of a sudden I was having a dyslexic moment. So let me read that again. It was 248,496,363.64. That was what it was saying. But I was all of a sudden like my brain started going into this whole dyslexic phase, and it was like I couldn't read numbers. So So they said making it the second highest spending state after California, which came in with 350.6 million. Ooh, the people in California, y'all. But it's probably because a lot of you content creators live in California, and California is huge. It's funny how when you look at California and you look at Texas, those are two of like the largest states that we have, I would say, in the US. So it makes sense that those big spots would be the ones that would be accumulating a lot of people viewing a lot of porn. However, the jaw-dropping sum was attributed to Texas's large size, which is what I literally just said, large size and population, as it ranked number 21 among the highest spending U.S. states per capita, 79,415 per 10,000 residents. As far as the Texas cities that dropped the most money on OF content, Houston led the 2025 ranking with a total of $31,988,000. Dallas to the number 2 position with $26,172,000. Austin placed number 3 with $17,544,933.33. And San Antonio and Fort Worth rounded out the top 5 with $17,387,250 and $10,241,583.33, respectively. When it came to the global cities ranking, Houston came in at number 11 and Dallas at number 15. Now, according to Only God, OF ranked in a total of $7.2 billion in 2025, a 9% increase in 2024. Although the platform allows all kinds of creators to monetize their content, it is mostly used for adult-oriented photos and videos. Now, it's also worth knowing that in 2024, the pornographic platform Pornhub voluntarily blocked Texas residents from accessing its website. The decision was a response to the state's age verification mandates for adult content websites. Pornhub argued that the laws infringed on adults' rights to access free speech. Are they really giving speech over there when y'all be watching the videos, or is it just oohs and ahs? So now, as you may know, our elected officials in Texas are requiring us to verify your age before allowing to access our website. This is what the site wrote in 2024. Not only does this impinge on the rights of adults to access protected speech, it fails the strict scrutiny by employing the least effective and yet also most restrictive means for accomplishing Texas's stated purpose of allegedly protecting minors. Yeah, because they think, oh, we put age restrictions on it. That's supposed to protect minors. Let me tell you something. Even before OF and internets and all other stuff, I was an underage kid looking at adult stuff. I remember when I used to take a school bus to school, and there was this kid in my class. Look, we all grown. I can snitch at this point. This kid that I used to go to school with, Mark, used to come with a collection of adult magazines on the bus. And we used to just sift through them and look at all the coochies and the dicks and all that other stuff that was up in there and was having a good old time watching the stuff. So, my thing is, what I'm basically saying is, if the kids are going to find a way to look at the stuff, they're going to find a way to look at the stuff. So you putting this age restriction thinking that's going to be enough to keep the kids at bay is not. So I don't know what the real rub of, or the real point of them doing the restriction thing on that whole situation. It just seems like y'all just trying to make it seem like sex is a bad thing, and it's not. It's a part of life, and everybody does it that need to be doing it. But it is what it is. But I'm like, I'm not surprised by this because we act like such a sexually repressed country, and especially in certain states that bleed red, like Texas and Florida, where they just flipped a couple of seats over in Texas. So shout out to y'all. They tired of the BS over there with the Republicans. So now they done flipped a couple of seats to Democrats. So shout out to y'all for that. Hopefully they'll go in and do the job that this other administration hasn't been doing, or the Republicans haven't been doing. I'm just thinking it's just you're just gonna get a seat and just sit in it and don't do nothing. But I'm not surprised that, all this other stuff will make people want to go, you know what? I need to, you repress people from sex and stuff. All it's going to do is make people want to go out and look for the thing. And you tell somebody no, they can't do something, it's going to make them want to do it. So if you make adult stuff accessible for those of us who are old enough to be able to look at it, then, and not put such a stigma on sex, then people wouldn't be going out seeking for this, for sexual content. But the minute you try to be like, no, that's bad, it's nasty, it's wrong, it only forces or pushes people to kind of seek it out more. So, little reverse psychologies. But shout out to you, OF. You out here doing y'all thing, making money. And I wonder how JF Just for Fans is doing and all the other ones. Well, we already know what happened on For My Fans because the person that created that is currently rotting in prison. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story regarding OF and how much coins they done pulled in, based off of, places like Texas and Florida? And also they mentioned LA, but some people think, LA is very liberal. There are parts of LA that are conservative, and there's parts of LA that are pretty much liberal. New York as well. We have conservative parts of New York, and we have liberal parts of New York. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. I'm doing a fan fest to get the free poster of Sydney. They have a fan fest coming out? Was that the one you was telling me about? I may have to look into that. I got my VPN account. I've been unsubscribing from not Rico Pruitt. Why? Because Rico ain't giving you what needs to be given with the content. Didn't he just do something with Jacoby? Oh, wait. What was it? Ray Potts. I see the age verification BS. That's what I said. I was like, people can sit and do the VPN and look at and find a way to get around it. It's the same way. Well, I don't do it with adult stuff, but the VPN, you use that for, like, if you want to watch a TV show or a movie or whatever the case is, that's what you use it for. But yeah, there's a lot of people that use it for adult cinematography. All right, y'all. So now let's get back into the show. And let's talk about Karamo. So we already talked the other day about Karamo and all the drama that's been going on with Queer Eye and the fact that they were saying that Karamo basically left the show or refused to do promos for the season, the final season of the show, because of apparently the other 4 or 3, except Jeremiah, because he's new. But the other 3 were going around saying some stuff behind his back, and it was caught on a hot mic, and his mother had heard it and basically told him what was said. But apparently, Rob Shutter, who, we reference a lot on this show, recently did a thing on his Substack where he was spilling tea and basically saying that Karamo might have been the problem and might have been out here being a bully on behind the scenes. So he says, "Darling, the Fab Five fantasy is officially shattered. Insiders tell Naughty But Nice that behind the hugs, tears, and affirmations, Queer Eye was quietly coming apart at the seams." I don't know where y'all was talking about quietly, because I've been noticed that the seams was coming apart. I just didn't care enough about the show to even talk about it until it got to this point. Now that it's all making national news, I'm like, okay, it's kind of entertaining to talk about. And now producers are pushing back hard on Karamo Brown's claims that he was mentally and emotionally abused. Their version is very different. They said Karamo wasn't the victim, one production source is telling Rob. He was the bully, emotionally domineering, critical, and impossible to challenge. According to multiple insiders, the final fracture came down in a now infamous hot mic moment during filming of the show's last season in Washington, D.C. Karamo's mother was visiting the set and was given production headphones when she overheard Anthony Porowski, Tan France, and Jonathan Van Ness venting privately after Karamo stepped away. So they said, what was said? It was petty, not cruel. They commented on how Karamo dressed and questioned whether his life coach advice always helped. It was frustration, not malice. But here's the thing. Y'all need to be focusing on the things that y'all got going on that show and not be focusing on what Karamo is doing on his situation. Is anybody being overtly critical on some of the non-advice and the non-things that y'all be doing on the show? Because I don't feel like y'all be giving what needs to be given in regards of the commentary and all this other stuff. So Karamo up in there giving his life coach advice, and maybe what it is their overall frustration stems from the fact that y'all trying to give him constructive criticism and he didn't want to hear it, and y'all getting mad because he's not taking y'all advice. And so now y'all want to talk about that he's being a bully. I just need examples of y'all talking about he's the real bully. Has he said or has he done anything remotely cruel towards any of his fellow castmates that warrants this kind of conversation? And me reading based on this whole situation, I don't feel like there's any signs of bullying. Bullying is a strong word to use. Bullying is like when you go in and you just verbally abusing and harassing people that you work with and trying to make them feel a way where there's a power dynamic. That to me is sort of like what bullying is. Not the fact that you give me constructive criticism and I don't want to hear it because, bitch, you my peer and quiet as it's kept. You giving the bare minimum when you're on the show. I'm actually doing what I need to do. And yeah, maybe that you're not really feeling the advice and the coaching and all this other stuff that I'm giving these people. But that's not up to you, though. You need to focus on the rest of what y'all are being paid to do. Let me do what I'm doing over here. Now, the producers have pointers or whatever it is that they want to give me, then I'll listen to that. But if he's not listening to that either, then it's just like, okay, then there's more to the story that we need to hear from it. I think at this point, Karamo, with all these people running around saying all these different things and speaking on your behalf and you're not coming out saying anything, I feel like at this point, this whole you keeping it quiet and not speaking out to defend yourself, you're going to have to come out and speak on what's really going on with the show and alleged bullying or whatever the case is. Because now they're out here trying to smear you. So they said everyone was walking on eggshells around Karamo. This is what another source claims. If you disagree with him, he framed it as harm. Okay, now y'all be doing too much with that. Because my thing is, I can't stand when y'all be coming out here and saying, I'm triggered, or you're having your little emotional moments. Because I understand this is like the new generation we in. Feelings are not facts. So this whole thing, I'm feeling triggered. Yeah. Like if y'all doing all that, then I gotta look at you like, okay, bitch, now you doing too much. Now I gotta cuss you out. So now they say after the day, the dynamic turned icy. Karamo unfollowed most co-stars, skipped press, and released videos accusing unnamed colleagues of abuse. When the rest of the Fab Five appeared united, insiders said it only deepened the divide. First of all, not only that, but I kind of side-eyed the situation where they're all sitting there holding each other's hands and got hands on each other. I'm like, what are y'all doing? Like, it just feels so fake and so performative. I wasn't buying it. So side-eyeing the whole time. I was like, okay, because he left y'all unarmed. He basically, y'all found out within moments before y'all went live that Karamo wasn't coming out and doing the promo. and sending a video, and y'all were blindsided. I was trying to think of the word, so that's why I was stalling a little bit. Y'all were blindsided by the whole situation, and you felt that was what. Now you need to come out and say something, and then y'all to come on with the hand holding and all the other mess, and that's when Gail and one of her good shake and go wigs had to tell you. But you're not, it's great and all of you're saying all this, you're giving your side, but we're not going to just diminish Karamo's feelings at this point. So they say after that day, the dynamic turned icy. Karamo fought, they said that deep in the vibe, they said he wanted accountability, but he wasn't willing to look at his own behavior and don't expect a reconciliation. Karamo doesn't want an apology and no one's offering one. This is what a producer reveals. Everyone has moved on. And here's the thing. At this point, I'm like, if this is our final season and I don't have to see these bitches no more, that's for any job, whether it's a regular job or a TV job. If I ain't got to work with these people no more, I don't care. I don't want an apology for them. As long as I ain't got to work with them ever. Now, if we end up winding up somewhere and it just so happens we working together on another, I'm like, I'm not working with this idiot. So we just got to figure out how to make that work. But in the meantime, it's like, everybody, I mean, you're not going to get along with everybody that you work with, and that's fine. But I don't like the idea that that the one person has been ostracized. Well, I can't even say one person, because so far it's two people that were part of this show that have had bad situations with the other cast members. So I love you, Rob. I know this is entertaining. I know this is you're going based off of what people told you, but I'm not buying what these producers are selling. I'm not, because the thing with Bobby Burke, that was one thing. And now it's Karamo is the second person to come out from all of this against these other three. No, I'm not buying it. So, and from the article, I didn't get anything regarding bullying. So I don't know if I'm confused or the fact that y'all just saying a bunch of nothing and you expect me to just automatically go along with, yeah, Karamo was the bully because y'all say so. But not here, Satan. Not today. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story regarding the queer eye producers basically saying that, no, it wasn't the other cast members that were bullying. It was Karamo who was the real bully, even though based off the article, I didn't catch any example of bullying on Karamo's part. So I definitely want to hear from y'all. Let me know what your overall thoughts on this story in the comments down below. Tyrone says, no, he's not. No new content in months. Rico, not $15 a month. Well, look, this why y'all gonna get mad, and I don't give a good goddamn. It's slim pickings out here when it comes to y'all doing that ratchet porn. When you only doing it with Jacoby and certain ones, and it's like, no, y'all got to diversify your portfolio, and y'all get mad when they go out and try to work with other talent. It's like you're gonna keep working with or Brashear whenever he not hiding Cooter Brown. It's like y'all gotta find other people that y'all gotta work with, and when you decide to stick within a small little situation, it's like, okay, so when you gonna put out new content? Because you got to keep feeding that beast, especially when it's 15, when you charging people $16 to see you busting wide open. None of them are angels, but I'm not bothered by Karamo's story either. After he broke. Now, didn't we talk about the pink sauce thing? I was waiting for somebody to bring it up. Because once upon a time we did the show, I did bring up the whole pink sauce thing, and I know a lot of people be dragging him over that whole situation that you had the pink sauce lady on, and you went and embarrassed the girl on your show, and you basically like that came across as like bullying. I don't watch Karamo because me personally, I never particularly cared for him. Like I didn't even like him on The Real World. But my thing is I just don't like bullying of any sort. So that's why I was just like fascinated by this story. But yeah, I never particularly cared for him when he was on The Real World. Then he went on and flip-flopped about this, everything. And then he did Queer Eye, which I didn't care for, because my thing was the only Queer Eye that I liked and I acknowledged was the one with Carson Kressley. And that was the one I liked because it was fun. I loved that the dance song that they had in the beginning, because it was very much, I was in my circuit music era. So I was loving that song. And I like the cast that they had of Queer Eye. It was on Bravo, so it was a lot of fun. It was in its early stages. That was before the Housewives and all of this stuff. So it was a fun show, and there was a bunch of gays that weren't taking themselves so seriously on that show. To me, this version with Karamo and them, I feel like they take themselves too seriously. It's like, it's not that serious. I hope they find peace with themselves. Why does it sound like you saying be blessed? It's like, I hope they all find peace with themselves. It's giving very be blessed. Or, yes, beloved. All right, y'all. So now let's move on to our next topic. Let's talk about Drag Race. So Drag Race happened on Friday. I have to say, I was thoroughly impressed with this, the Raider Queen and the, I didn't think they was going to have it, but then now they decided to move it in the middle of the season, which I actually think is a much better idea instead of doing it in the first episode. Because by then we've gotten to know the queens. There's no bias there, I guess. But then again, if you're part of the house of Dion, like Mia Starr and Juicy. It's funny, look at me now, I'm starting to remember names, but I guess because we 5 episodes in, everybody's in the brain. Unless you were part of the House of Dion, then there's a little bit of bias there that you're gonna automatically vote for your favorites to be in the top. But yeah, I definitely like the performances. Although I will say this, the person that they put in the bottom, I do not agree with. I felt like there should have been another queen at the bottom. That Jazzercise performance, that was a chop. First of all, she didn't remember the words. So, here's the thing. So basically the challenge was that, they do the talent show, and then they, of course, it's 2 parts. And then they had Zara Larson as the celebrity guest, the extra, what is it, Rue says? The extra special guest or host or whatever, or judge. So Athena Dion, Discord Adams, Jane Don't, Kenya Pleaser, and Mikey Meeks will perform next week. But we ended up getting a bunch of other queens. So Nene Coco, I will say, I definitely love the performance, although I will say this, with her and the animal and biting off the head, I don't like the idea of you taking something that you went viral with and bringing it on a TV show. Because here's the thing. Yeah, a lot of people aren't on TikTok or whatever the case like that. But I don't like the idea of you taking a something that you've done already and adding a little extra seasoning on it, and then basically just giving us the same thing that you basically did. To me, that's kind of cheating. But I will say that I did like the performance. And I like Nene. First of all, I didn't realize, like, I started looking at Nene recently. I'm like, I would totally hit that. Like, Nene's a cutie. There's a lot of cuties on this show. Mia Starr is another one. I would tear them guts up. First of all, Mia is fine as hell. I don't care what nobody say. Out of drag, he is fine. First of all, Mia Starr, is it me, or does he remind you of like the drag, like out of drag? He reminds me of Tyreek Withers. Like, they very much have that whole look. And the light skinned one from Kid and Play. We kind of in that vibe. So Mia Starr was definitely one of my faves. I'm not gonna go and do a whole breakdown of the situation. I'm gonna just give you my faves and my least faves or whatever. Mia Starr, I thought 8. I loved Juicy, loved Dion's performance. Nene Coco, those are my top 3. Darlene Mitchell, her performance with the tools, I did find that fun. Like, I thought it was cute. I thought it was funny. She could have expanded on that more. It was definitely giving a Mr. Rogers vibe. It was definitely giving PBS, but I had fun with it. I love a double entendre comedy thingy with like a little nursery rhyme sing-songy situation. I like that. Sierra Mist performance, I will say, I didn't like the spoken word poetry thing. I thought that, okay, if that's if that's an extension of you, that's cute. But unless you were going to be on the same level as Tatiana's, what is it? What was the same parts? If it was going to give that, then I could totally be like, okay, that was a win. But her spoken word thing didn't work for me. First of all, they struggled to rip with the tearaway of the outfit. She basically didn't have enough core strength to hold herself because she almost fell over. I did catch that. The tearaway, the outfits, basically, I felt like overshadowed the performance. So I could definitely see why Sierra Mist was in the bottom. But Athena. Wait, they said, oh yeah, I did like some of the runways though, I will say. who was in the? Because hold on. I did like Athena's runway look. Discord's dump the dress, the newspaper look, I definitely liked her look. I like Jane Doan's look. Can you please basically turning Jane's coat into an island girl dress? I was gonna say, first of all, the garment looked like it was ill-fitted in so many ways. I know she had to turn over something real quick because she said that the person that designed the outfit didn't have it all together for her in time. So it was nice that one of the other girls basically gave her a piece of an outfit and she was able to say, first of all, I give it up to anybody that struggles in this show where it's like, they're supposed to have pieces done based off of the challenges that they're given, because you're given a whole itinerary of what you have to bring for the show. So I like the idea that, even if you're against Father Time, that you're able to stitch something together within that short period of time and come up with something. That's why I have to say, oh my God, who was it that the queen that wore all the purple that basically would always make her own clothes? I always like the fact that she was basically an inspiration, that she could just come there and pull something together. So Vita Von T Star, no shade, but girl, you should have been in the bottom. I thought your performance was worse. Because number one, you did the jazzercise thing. You looked like you were not comfortable doing it. And then you didn't even remember your own lyrics to your song. Because you kept turning your back. And I kept saying, because I am one of those people that talks to the TV, even if I'm the only one in the room. And I'm like, why is she performing to the judges? Why is she performing to the back of the stage? Why is she turning her head this way? To kind of like, you was doing all the tricks to try to hide the fact that you didn't even know the words, and they still clocked your ass over it. But if that was me, no shade. I get Sierra Mintz being in the bottom because maybe she's not that interesting enough to last on the show, but we'll see whoever she goes up against next week in that lip sync if she survives. But Vita, she was not. I just thought her performance was not good. I didn't like it at all. And like I said before, so if I was to place anybody, I would have in sixth place, so I'm gonna rate my own queens. Number 6, I will put Vita Von T Star. Number 5, I will put Sierra Miss. Number 4, I will put Darlene Mitchell. Number 3, I will put Nene Coco. Mia Star at number 2. Well, no, Juicy Love Dion. I'm sorry, I will put number 2, and then Mia Star I put at number 1 because I like, I love a ratchet choreography. That's me coming from New York. So what her doing, all that move that she was doing up in there, I was here for it. So to me, even though Juicy definitely ate, I will say that I will put Mia Star above her, and that's only because personal preference. I like that style of dance or whatever. So of course, we had our top 2 winners because nobody was going home, so I had to pick the top 2 winners of the week, and it was Juicy and it was Mia, and I wasn't mad over the fact that it was a tie because they both danced their ass off to a ratchet song, by the way, by Zara Larsson. Now, there's other songs I would have chosen, but I understand based off of the type of situation, I'm like, okay, this is a good song to perform to. I guess it's good for TV, but I don't know. I was kind of like having a love-hate relationship. I'm like, this is the song out of all the Zara Larsson bops. This is the song y'all choose, but that's what y'all did. I guess maybe that was the cheapest song y'all can get. I don't know. But Mia Star and them titties and Juicy and her cute little outfit, they was performing down. And though, say what you want, but the Miami Girls was definitely bringing it this season. I was looking for this season. I'm looking forward to what the other girls are gonna bring next week. I don't even think I even know who's gonna be performing. Like, who's the extra special guest judge next week? I must have missed out on that one. It has to be. I would think it would have to be another musical performance. But overall, I had a great time with this episode. It was cute or whatever. I was starting to worry a little bit about Drag Race. Like, oh my God, it's going to be boring, whatever the case is. But no, I'm definitely loving a lot of the challenges this season. They got a lot of strong girls up in here. The queens are definitely bringing it in regards to the talent and the performance. It shouldn't always be about throwing shade and fighting or whatever the case is. Like, I'm here for the challenges, and I'm definitely here for this thing, and I love Ray the Queen. And that's the tea. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this? Or I was hoping I could do that tongue pop. was hoping the time I was about to do it, I was like, please let me stick the landing with that. And so I thought this was like, what do you guys think of this story? Did you like the episode? What did you think of Rated Queen? Who would you have rated on your own version of Rated Queen? Because that'd be a fun game to play. Put it in the list. I definitely want to hear what y'all got to say in regards to who y'all would have rated from sixth place onto the top and that sort of thing if you were up there doing your own little Rated Queen situation. So I definitely want to hear from y'all. Let me know what your thoughts on this story in the comments down below. Now they done turned Drag Race into Empire. Wait, hold on. You said Drag Race is where all the Paramount money went. Did it? Because I told y'all the button that they look like they had a budget with that New York premiere that I was at. Now, don't get me wrong. The spot that they had it at was cute. It was like a little restaurant, nightclub type of situation. The food was banging. The way that they had the setup and everything, it was kind of annoying because they only had this much space where they could do the red carpet photo shoot, whatever. Then they had this big giant bird cage, which I'm like, okay, that's cute or whatever to get the queens in. But for the most part, it was like 5 photographers there fighting for space to try to shoot all the queens and all the different celebrities to come in. And there was all this long space for media. So the media had way more space than the photographers. And you know what? I appreciate the fact that I get to go every year and be in the room with all these people, even though I am bitching and moaning about some of the things, but still, I appreciate the fact that I get to go to this event every year for the most part. And the fact that, a lot of the people that I know and photographers and stuff that I've encountered and met, that are getting to go in and still do the photography, that they're not having to be like, we got to hire somebody from MTV, because they're not paying for these people. These people are volunteering on their own accord to come in and do their photos, whatever the case is. So, and then you have all the media and stuff there. But look, the best thing I will say about that event that we went to, and I'm sure they'll probably change it next year. I like the previous event where it was like, there was a downstairs where they had like this holiday theme, and then we had to take an elevator up to where it was like the stage and the screen, and we got to watch the show. And on the opposite side, they had like the after party, and then they had like people walking around with the food and stuff. So I like that whole setup that they had. This year was like a little more smaller, so I feel like they cut back on the budget. But I will say this: the food and the drinks was lit. Like the drinks was flowing, the martinis, everything. I was living for some of the drinks over there, and the food was fooding. I could not stop eating. The amount of they kept coming around with them trays. Kris was eating. I would never turn down a plate. That's why I have to always go to the gym, because bitch, I would be 300 pounds. And you said they done turn. Oh yeah, I read that already. Yeah, I got you. When you said turn, I have a. Oh, you said I have a bone to pick with Drag Race. Surprise, surprise. Why did they leave Zara Larson out of this? That's what I said. I didn't even know she was going to be on it. But then they had to show us Benny Blanco. So is Benny Blanco going to be the guest next week? I wonder if they're going to have him for that, because he's a musician, so musical guest. But yeah, they should have put Zara Larson in the promo, because I didn't even know she was going to be on the show until they mentioned. I'm like, what? When they showed the guest judges this season. Yeah, so that didn't make sense. Nene Coco gets me excited. Yeah, I was gonna say that. First of all, Nicki can get it. That's a cutie right there. And he said Kelly Clarkson has officially announced her retirement. She wished it wasn't this way. She's 43, but her children lost their dad, and she feels going on hiatus. Yeah, because here's the thing: doing a talk show is a lot. It's I don't know if she does 5 days a week or 4 days and 2 shows out of the 4 days to fill up that Friday. Because a lot of times that is what a lot of people do, where it's like, oh, I film 5 shows a week, but I only work 4 days. So the Friday episode is pre-recorded. Because once upon a time, The View used to do that. But now it's like Whoopi gets 4 days and Joy gets 4 days. The other girls got to come in Monday through Friday. And Whoopi will take Monday off. No. Whoopi takes Friday off. Joy hosts, and Joy will moderate the Friday show. And then Joy takes off Monday's show. And of course, Whoopi is doing her moderation. And that's when they bring Anna on. So Anna works Friday and Monday. And I guess whenever the other girls calls out, she comes in. Or unless they want to do a very special episode where they have Biden or any of the Democratic politicians. Then they want all the ladies on the stage. But yeah, doing a talk show is hard. Like, you really cannot have a life if you're gonna be doing a talk, because it's like it's a lot of your time. And yeah, when you need kids to do whatever, she's got enough money. She's good. And if she needs to, just do the residency in Vegas, where it's like you do 2 or 3 shows a week for like 2 hours, but you spend majority of your time with the kids. Because yeah, when you don't have a dad, that's a lot. So I'm not mad at her. I'm not mad. Thank you, Raja O'Hara. I don't know why I can remember her name, but yeah, I agree with her that it's time to take a break from the industry and just raise your kids. And if you need a little extra money, then do the residency. Kelly's at that point in her career where she could do a residency and still make bank. Vita got safe in the bottom because Discord ranked her 4th. I do feel like Sierra's Glam Alliance could help her in this week's voting. I hope so. If they save her. But it all depends on who she ends up going against in next week's episode. It ends up in the bottom. Child, what if it's Discord Adams? Because what if Discord ends up in the bottom? We got to definitely see what her performance. I mean, she does rock and roll music, whatever. So if she don't incorporate that in her show and do something very Wendy O. Williams type, then yeah. Oh yeah, you're right. Because they filmed it I always forget they filmed it last year, and Midnight Sun didn't come out yet. You said it was released as a single, and they filmed this, but Pretty and Ugly was. I wanted them to at least do Lush Life or Ruin My Life, one of her 2010 bops. But I guess because, Pretty and Ugly is a ratchet song. So when you got 2 of the color girls going up against each other, you want to see them knucking and bucking and popping and locking and doing the Harlem Shake and all the other moves up in there and popping your pussy. All your ladies pop your pussy like this. Stick it up, don't stop, don't miss. Said Jessie is wanting to join Little Mix again, saying all she wanted to do was rest. Now that she's older, she feels it's time for look, sorry, but there's a certain Little Mixer that's currently touring the U.S. right now, so she's gonna have to wait till Jade is good and done in order to come back to that. You know a lot about The View. Well, that's because I used to watch The View for since the 90s, until there was a point where I woke up from the Matrix and decided to no longer watch it. Every now and again, depending on certain situations, I will give a gander, only because I want to know what everybody is saying. So, like recently with them talking about the whole Don Lemon thing. But yeah, it's always been like that. For years, it's been that Whoopi only works 4 days a week and Joy works 5 days a week. And there's a lot of talk show hosts that do that. I think Wendy Williams was even doing that at one point, where was the Friday episode was pre-recorded or whatever. But then I think she went back to doing full live. All right, y'all. So now let's get into some more adult cinematography news, which is our closing topic. And let's talk about Joey Mills. So Joey Mills got himself a new gig. Oh, excuse me. Over there on Out TV. So, he is getting at that age where he's no longer going to be considered a twink. So he's ready to move on to greener pastures, and he's revealing his latest project, which is like from corn to HD TV. So he said, honestly, I've always been kinky, because they're asking who says twinks can't be kinky. So the famed adult film star and notorious twink at the geriatric age of 27 years old, he's getting on a bit. They said he is, in the words of his mother, approaching twink death, whereby a young, slim, hairless gay man is no longer all 3 of those things in blissful conjunction. Did they just get on Troye Sivan about that? They said it's sort of no man's land for queer men to look 23, but are actually 32, and they responded by calling the novel pitiful sproutings on their chin a beard. Well, look, y'all need to embrace getting older, because with age comes wisdom. So to be fair to him, on Zoom from his home in St. Louis in Missouri, where he grew up, Mills's beard looks admirable. He does a Grinder logo shape. As does the Grinder logo shape award behind him is easily twice the size of his head, which he won in December after being named the Corn Star of the Year by the dating apps users. Oh yeah, we did talk about that on the show. Clearly, Twink Mills still has his fans, but this year he's going from Twinkie to Kinky. Now, in May, he will turn 28 and mark 10 years since he entered the gay adult cinematography industry as a fresh-faced 18-year-old in 2021. The halfway point was probably like the peak of my career so far, he says. Now, this year, he won his 4th Gay VN Award. He has 6 in total, saying, I don't want to say it's been downhill since then, but it's been like a plateau. You can't do so much better than the elevator video of he did an elevator video? He said, you can't do much better than the elevator video, unfortunately. He says, Riley, referencing a very viral, very NSFW video of him from 2019 donning a sapphire suit and getting rimmed while trapped in a lift. Well, that's the Brits, but it's an elevator channel. Mills is indisputably gay famous, particularly an A-lister. Am I gay famous? I think I might be. An A-lister in any queer club or pride event. But he's clear that he wouldn't want to breach that level of celebrity. He says, I want to only be recognized at the gay bars in West Hollywood versus the grocery store when I'm shopping for eggs. I did just have a fan that I caught staring at my house at like 2:30 in the morning. That was a little scary. It wasn't the first time, and it probably won't be the last either. Oh, yeah, I don't know if we talked about that on the show, or maybe we did. But there was something that went around where Joey Mills was talking about how, oh yeah, I think I did play a video or something or another somewhere, or I think I posted it on my social medias where he basically was calling out some dude that he said that kept circling his house and went in the backyard and came up front and was trying to ask him if he can come in his house. He was like, no, I don't know you. You could be the killer for all I know. But you want to know something? In a way, I kind of felt like I wouldn't mind being gay famous either. I want to be known in my circles of like, if I go to West Hollywood, if I go if I go to West Hollywood or I go to Hell's Kitchen in New York or Palm Springs or Fire Island, I just want to be known in those circles. And if I go in the other mainstream places, I have a sense of anonymity that I can just go places and people don't bother you in those sort of spaces. So if you just gay famous, that's a good peak, but you got to be able to do other things besides spreading your legs for a coin. And he's found something to do in regards to that. So, yeah, because I'm like, I don't want to be up in the store buying food and all of a sudden people whisper, oh, that's that boy that was doing this, and this on camera, like trying to slut shame you. But I was like, but you was beating your meat to it. Okay, so it says to you or I, oh, hold on, because I was like, I don't want to mess, Now, his move to kink content is something he's been inching towards with recent videos. He won Best Fetish Video at the 2024 Gay VN Awards. It's part of his mission to try a little bit of everything, he says. Everything gets kind of stale after a while, so you got to switch things up. To you or I, to switch things up means buying a new bike or growing a mullet. For Joey Mills, it meant spending a week building a BDSM sex dungeon in his basement with the help of his mother, Bridget, a stepfather Steve, and friend dominatrix Fantasia Royale Gaga. Oh, and inviting a camera crew along to film the whole thing. Saying this is a DIY dungeon, a new Outflix docuseries about, well, exactly that. So it took us a roundabout way to get to it. So he basically is building himself a sex dungeon and is having them film it for a show on Out TV. They said Outflix, but more than likely it's Out TV in the US. So basically said it was one of the most stressful weeks of my life filming this show. The entire process, Barren Basement and Kinky Sanctuary, took 6 days, though that included just a day and a half for the actual construction of the dungeon. It's an odd duck of a series combining sex education with home renovations fodder, the reality TV drama with a moving LGBTQ plus friendly tale. The bawdy and brilliantly bosomed Fantasia Royale Gaga gives the show its bite, sauntering her way into Mills's house and gleefully adding low-level drama via a confrontation or two with the host. Mills admits today that actually it was him causing the tension, saying we're kind of like siblings a little bit, as the pair have known each other for years, but the addition of a camera crew and production team in his house, plus furniture all haywire and construction mess everywhere, sent his heart rate rocking. It was, he trails off, I was a little mean. Now, Bridget and Steve were pulled in to assist with and react to Mills's project with the blasé indifference of being asked to pull up a shelf, saying it's genuinely heartwarming. These are parents who have always been supportive of Mills' industry choice, with their only reservation stemming from worry rather than judgment. Because he said, when I told them I was going to do adult cinematography, they were like, okay. And first, they thought it was a bizarre prank. It wasn't until Mills asked for a ride to the airport to fly and film his first scene that they realized he was serious. They were obviously nervous, as most parents would be. He said, I was freshly 18. I flew out for my first scene, I think 20 days after my birthday. And so they were a little nervous that I was going to get kidnapped and sold into trafficking or something, which they probably should be. Evidently, no such fate had befallen him. It worked out for him. And shout out to all the parents out there whose kids, I know this might be crazy for me to say, but shout out to all the parents out there whose kids are out there being like, you know what? I found something I'm good at. That's taking D for coins. And I need you to fly me out to the airport so I can go to LA and film my very first scene for a studio. And the parents like, okay, be careful. That there was no genuine disgust or judgment, where they want to start reciting words from the Bible or telling you you're going to hell, whatever the case is, because you was out here punching for coins or whatever. So shout out to all the parents out there who are open-minded and are just like, you know what, my child grown. They could do whatever the hell they want and not putting like any kind of shame on this situation. Now, regarding this show, this sounds relatively interesting. I'm like, you know what, this would be a great idea for an actual show where it's like, instead of like renovating people's homes and things like they always do on HGTV or the DIY channel, why not just be like, oh, we're going to go and build a sex dungeon in people's houses and all this stuff. Like, that would be an interesting show. It's like, okay, do you want to swing? What kind of, what are your things that you're interested in? What would be the colors? Would you like marble? Would you like all painted black? Like, it'd be interesting if people could build their own little sex dungeons or sex club or whatever it is in their house. That would be a cool idea. I mean, I always said my dream is to, when I get me a house, to build my very own studio in a basement where it's like I could do a show in the basement. I would have a recording studio and I would have like a TV studio in the basement where it's just like I go down there and I give you all a regular show instead of like all the little things here, and then I gotta just get like a regular TV show where I don't have to go to a studio and actually pay the money. So shout out to Joey Mills, shout out to all the people that's a part of this thing, and I'll definitely check it out when it airs. Well, they said that it's streaming from January 27th. It's on Outflix. I may have to check my Out TV to see if it's on there, but the show is called DIY Dungeon if y'all plan on checking it out. And so I definitely want to hear from you. What do you guys think of this story? This sounds like the craziest thing under the sun, but here's the thing. I always like when they give a homosexual twist on pre-existing IPs and things, because I'm like, we don't have enough shows that represent all the things. There's a lot of handy gays out here. So this would definitely be a show I would check out. Speaking of which, I wonder what's going on with X-Rated NYC. Is that show done? I'm assuming that they must have canceled it because we haven't gotten a new season since the last. Well, they only came out with 3 seasons, but then again, that show felt kind of like it was scripted or staged. It didn't feel real to me. So anyway, let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. I was like, oh look, we done wrapped up this show before 8 o'clock. The view was very different. It had more celebrities and musical performances. I know, it's like I missed the musical performance. They didn't bring that back. Now it's like they spend more time just talking about politics and Donald Trump and stuff. And that's why I can't really get into it, because I'm like, I don't want to sit and just watch y'all talk about that man all damn day. A lot of Drag Race queens are gay famous. Besides Trixie and maybe Jinx, only people that watch Drag Race can recognize drag queens in and out of drag in public. Fantasia Royale Gaga is so cool to me. I wanted to watch Dragula just to watch her alone. Yeah, she was a mess on that show, but she is one of the things about Fantasia, she is definitely entertaining. Hassan Piker is getting bigger on YouTube. That Twitch ban where he called Trump a Zionist for supporting Israel got him suspended. Most of conservative influencers are getting into legal trouble. Well, Hassan is not a conservative influencer. He's more or less a progressive. Well, he's opposite of conservative. Conservative would be somebody like Theo Vaughn or who's that other meathead idiot? Joe Rogan. Those are conservative influencers. But yeah, so he's no longer on Twitch, even though it just seems like when he's, I think he still might be on Twitch because a lot of times when I be watching Hassan's videos, I notice that you see that Twitch thing going up, unless that's YouTube, but you could slow down the chat. When a lot of the chats and stuff is going, you can slow it down. The crash out of Ethan Klein is helping, among other things. So, I mean, building a dungeon with his mom was enough for me. I know it's kind of weird that you have your parents helping you build a sex dungeon. That is kind of like weird that, oh, my dad's gonna put up a sling knowing full on well there's that his son's gonna get fucked in it and probably film. But I do think that's a cool idea that it's like you build something in your house, you basically just film content in there, because I don't know where well, I guess because he did just get the Grinder Award or whatever, he is still relatively a popular performer. But if you can find creative ways to still do stuff in your house rather than have to travel to other people's homes or go to rent out a studio or whatever, then why not? Well, that's good. They agreed to testify in the Epstein probe. That's something you'll never hear the other side say that they'll agree to do. Because they think, and then somebody even put a picture of Zohran Mamdani as a little kid taking a picture with Jeffrey Epstein and his mother, Mira Nair. Now, some people are saying that it was just a photo, then some people saying it's not even real. So it's like, y'all create so much stuff to try to move the goalposts over y'all fave. It's hard to, know what to believe out here, especially when someone likes to spew fake news every 5 seconds. But anyway, all right, y'all. So we're at the end of the show. I want to thank you all for tuning in. I thought the show would be a lot longer, especially after the Grammys thing. But yeah, thank you all for tuning in for the latest episode of Kris Avalon Unfiltered. Hit that like button. Smash the notification bell. Hit that notification. Subscribe, all that good stuff. If you can, please and thank you. It doesn't cost you a thing. It definitely helps with the algorithm when you do all of those things. And it also helps put a little extra coin totters in my pocket the more of y'all subscribe to the channel. So, all of this stuff, it's not easy to be putting all this show together, but I definitely love being up in here entertaining you all. I will not be on tomorrow. I'll be back on Wednesday with a brand new episode. I gotta stop telling y'all when I'm gonna come on, because a lot of times when I tell y'all, then I don't show up. I'll be wondering if y'all be mad, because sometimes stuff happens. Like when was the last time I was going to do a show? I was actually going to do a show, I think yesterday, but I wasn't able to do one. I'm trying to remember if I worked. I don't remember if I worked Friday. I think I did. It was a time that I was going to come on one of the days, and I think it was Thursday. I wasn't able to come on, but whatever. So I'll be back on Wednesday with a brand new episode. Tomorrow I have, there's a dog show that I'm going to be working at the Garden. So I'll be doing that, and I'll be back on Wednesday with a brand new episode. So, oh yeah, because it was like that Rangers game, I did not work, but it would have been cute to see Joe Carey. And I know the girls was screaming when he came out. Just like the day before when I worked the Knicks game, Timothy Chalamet was there, and Milo Manheim. It was a bunch of celebrities that was there at that game that they won. But yeah, love you all for watching. Thank you all for your continued support and the comments, all other stuff, and hanging out with me for as long as y'all be hanging out with me when I do these long shows. And yeah, so you wouldn't get this on a regular channel where they want to try to judge everything up in 2 minutes. Not here. We break everything down to the, down to the bone. So love you all for watching. Thank you all for your continued support. Until next time. Ciao, darlings.